Hare Krishna, everyone. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Let me. Okay, John Prabhu.
I couldn't get a good connection over here. Where's the route here?
Yeah. Hare Krishna, everyone. Sorry, I was a little bit late. Okay, so today, first of all, the good news is that Bangalore temple case was won. So from the Bangalore temple case, there have been many reactions, and one of the reactions which someone sent us the link was of the I forget the name proper, but let me say the name exactly. It is the ISKCON India Scholars Board. They have a YouTube channel, and they have come out with 2 videos in the last 3-4 days. So I thought it's very interesting to see where these devotees are and their philosophy. And the good thing is that they are not going, at least in the second video, the most recent video, they are not going personal, and it is Shastra based. So, and Prabhupada instructions based. So I thought, why don't we discuss this? And it may give us also a reality check on where we are in our discussion. And we can also see where do we need to improve, and probably also send this video to them, and maybe they can also see whether they would like to look into the philosophy, how they have been looking. So without further ado, let us bring that up, and anybody can always interject, and I'll stop the video and we can go through it. And sometimes some places I'll just fast forward for some, it's going to be. So this is the latest one. Let's just take Srila Prabhupada Pranam Mantra and let's start. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shrunivadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane.
See, everyone is paying obeisances to Srila Prabhupada. It's just interesting.
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarane. So, welcome, dear viewers, to the second installment of the ISKCON India Scholars Board discussion on the circumstances following the Supreme Court verdict in the ISKCON versus ISKCON of Bangalore court case. With me today is I'm Basu Ghosh Das, General Secretary of the ISKCON India Governing Council, known as the Bureau. I'm also a member of the ISKCON India Scholars Board. Krishna Kirti Das is the convener of the ISKCON India Scholars Board, and Sridhar Srinivas Das and Ram Aprameya Das are members of the ISKCON India Scholars Board. So without further ado, today's topic that we would like to discuss, we should get to that immediately, and that is the July 9th letter, Srila Prabhupada's final order on initiations in ISKCON. So on July 9th, 1977, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, who was serving as Prabhupada's secretary, wrote a letter And he, in that letter, he and Prabhupada signed a letter. He mentioned that from now on there would be Ritviks. He used the word Ritvik, a Sanskrit word that means representative. It actually means a priest who performs a sacrifice on behalf of a Kshatriya or a Vaishya, or even a Brahmana, or maybe even a Shudra. But those priests would act on behalf of someone else. So in that sense of the word, he made this Ritvik idea. And what has happened, Prabhupada disciples came up with the idea that Prabhupada is still giving initiations, and they made a Ritvik system of initiation concept. Later on, a fellow named Krishna Desai, who never took initiation, wrote a book called The Final Order. And basically, in a nutshell, that book Prabhupada continues to be the guru forever and ever. So
let me just break here for a second, just give the historical perspective. He's bringing up, Basu Ghosh Prabhu is bringing up two devotees names, Rupa Vilas Prabhu and Krishna Karnamrita Prabhu. And Vedic Village Review was a publication which these wonderful devotees, they used to publish in New Jaipur. That was a farm community established by our Nityananda Prabhu in Mississippi, in south of USA. Nityananda Prabhu established the new Talawan in Mississippi farm, and then when all these problems happened, then he broke away and he established another farm somewhere in Mississippi, I don't know where. And then he also invited Brahmanas and other devotees to come and settle down. And they were researching there, they were printing these books in the mid 80s. These publication, many books he had published, they had published. And so one of them was this publication, Vedic Village Review, where Yashwanand Prabhu was also writing, these devotees were researching, and many other devotees were contributing in that. And so it seems Krishna Kant Prabhu, who from IRM, who wrote the final order, he went and met them and he stayed with them for a month or two or something like that. That's the kind of history in the 90, 91, 92, something like that. He went there and he stayed. And that's how he kind of added the July 9th letter to the whole philosophy to make it the certainty rather than just going in the philosophy without the final certainty. So that's how that's what he's referring to.
Today, one of the adherents of this Ritvik system of initiation wrote to me, Madhu Pandit Das was initiated by Srila Prabhupada. So I wrote back, well, were you initiated by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? None of us claim to be initiated by our Param Guru. Even Ramanujacharya, Prabhupada said that Yamunacharya was the guru of Ramanujacharya, but the actual history is that he was the Param Guru.
So they are going to, this is interesting. Right in the beginning, they are talking about the whole thing about initiation as a definition of performing the Panchratrikas Vidhi of initiation. And they have, so July 9th letter, this is what Srila Prabhupada is doing, a Panchratrika system of initiation. And so that's what they are taking up. And we will, of course, what we have gone through in our discussions right from the beginning, from day one, is how the difference between Bhagavata Vidhi of initiation, Panchratrika Vidhi, and the Vedic Vidhi. And we will discuss that more. I hope he discusses this.
He was inspired by the Shiksha, by the teachings of Yamunacharya, but the Pancha Sanskaras were given by Mahapurna, not by Yamunacharya.
So this Pancha Samskaras which he is talking about, they are the Urdhva Pundarak Tilak, the Shikha, the Tilak and on the 12 parts of the body, Shikha, and the Kantimala, name change, and I forget the 5. Anyone else can tell me which is the other, the 5th one? I forget now.
So we'll open up the discussion on this topic with Krishna Kirti Prabhu. You go first, and then we'll hear from the other participants in order.
So the thing I want to introduce here is that the common thing said by all followers of Ritvikism is that the July 9th letter is Prabhupada's final order on initiations. I just want to quote one thing from Madhu Pandit Prabhu's Shiksha Guru, Krishnakant Desai, from his book, The Final Order. Sometimes people question the stress.
1 second. So he's saying Madhupanit Prabhu's Guru Krishna Kant Desai. That's already a curveball. That is not the philosophy. No? When one says the Guru, that means Srila Prabhupada. He never said Krishna Kant is my the Guru. The Guru, we are talking about the Diksha Guru. 135 cc Adi. There is one Diksha Guru and then there are many Shiksha Gurus. So Krishna Kant Desai is one Shiksha Guru of many. Let's carry on.
On this letter over and above other letters or teachings. In our defense, we shall simply repeat an axiom that GBC itself uses in its handbook, Gurus and Initiations in ISKCON. Quote, in logic, later statements supersede earlier ones in importance, unquote. And then he continues, he says, since the July 9th letter really is the final instruction on initiations within ISKCON, addressed as it was to the entire movement, it must be viewed in a category of its own. So this is what this is what Krishnakant Desai says. So this is Srila Srinivas Prabhu. Would you like to comment?
Yeah. July 9th letter actually has list of 11 Ritviks assigned by Prabhupada who could do initiation when Prabhupada was not well. But that's not a new thing that Prabhupada created. Prabhupada actually was having that going with so many days before even that. So that, but actually,
he was getting it done from like even in New Vrindavan in the early 70s. I think in 2001 or 2 or something like that, I kind of tried to research this, and we came up with, like, we documented from 72, I think was the first time he gave this. He slowly was giving these. We're talking about the 5 samskaras again, the Panchratrika Vidhi. We're going with their definition of Diksha right now. And the 5 samskaras, out of which chanting of the beads is the 5th one. The first thing which he did was to tell these devotees, like in Europe he gave it to Revati Nandan Maharaj, and then in US he gave it to Kirtananda Swami in 1972, 73, I think, where he told them, you can chant on their beads. And gradually he gave up more and more. Like, of course, already the temple president was doing the tilak, kantimala, shika, performing and the fire sacrifice according to the Vedic system, which we'll come to also again. which is not a part of the Pancharatrika, pure Pancharatrika system, which the other sampradayas follow. But the chanting on the beads also he gave to them to do. And then gradually he gave more and more responsibilities. And then we, of course, as Prabhu is saying, that in 77, that was already going on.
The real final instruction, I would say, is the law of disciplic succession, right? The December 2nd, 1975 letter. So
Will I read that?
Well, yeah, would you please
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me?
sure.
Okay, let's
Yeah, yeah,
look
sure.
at that letter. But
Okay.
already it's going on the wrong path. The law of disciplic succession, it's okay. Let's see this logic. Let's rewind back a little bit.
Right? The December 2nd, 1975 letter. So
Will I read-
signed by Prabhupada, who could do initiation when Prabhupada was not well. But that's not a new thing that Prabhupada created. Prabhupada actually was having that going with so many days before even that. But actually, the real final instruction, I would say, is the law of disciplic succession.
Okay, I would say. So this is where Manodharma starts. I'm sorry to say Prabhu looks very good, but we are talking now. I mean, he's a very good devotee, it seems. I can see, but the Shastra point one, when they are discussing, it needs to be this particular point where it is the fulcrum of the whole point, that what is actual initiation, that also needs to be backed on the Shastra. It can't be on according to me. Let's hear this again. See what he's saying, which is not very nice. Okay.
Prabhupada actually was having that going with so many days before even that. But actually, the real final instruction, I would say, is the law of disciplic succession.
See, I would say it, which is not good. Not Shastric. So what he should have done is he should have said, okay, what is the real initiation according to Srila Prabhupada in this scripture is this. That's how we do. Otherwise, this whole basis of it is going on a manodharma, no, on a mental platform. And we will come to that. What is according to us, what we are thinking as the real initiation. And what is the shastric basis for it? But we will come. Let's hear from dear Prabhu what is he saying further on his what is this real initiation he's thinking.
Right? The December 2nd, 1975 letter.
Okay, even that one, if one is saying what is real initiation and they're all about disciplic succession, everything, they should quote the scriptures. Letter is also a time, place, circumstance. July 9th letter is a time, place, circumstance, but because it is written to the whole world, whole ISKCON world, it takes on a official position which is applicable, transcending time, place, and circumstance many times, which is, this may be my opinion here. So that's why we are not, or we don't go to the letters as the philosophy or the Shastra or what is the Siddhanta. We go to the scriptures, which are the Mula scriptures, which is foremost is Chaitanya Charitamrita, then Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Nectar of Devotion, Ishopnishad, Nectar of Instructions, these books. But let us hear from Prabhu what he is saying from that letter, which already is going on a wrong direction. But let us see.
Read that?
Well, yeah, would you please
Yeah,
for
yeah,
me?
sure. Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay, so this is a letter to Tusta Krishna on 2nd December 1975. It's quote, keep trained up very rigidly, and then you're a bona fide guru, and you can accept disciples on the same principle. But as a matter of etiquette, it is the custom that during the lifetime of your spiritual master, you bring the prospective disciples to him, and in his absence or disappearance, you can accept disciples without any limitation. This is the law of disciplic succession.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see my disciples become bona fide spiritual master and spread Krishna consciousness very widely. That will make me and Krishna very happy, unquote.
Mhm.
So you can see clearly that what Prabhupada is saying is you can become a guru, but wait for the time that the guru's absence. That means after the time of the guru. While the guru is there, you bring the disciples to the guru. So this is etiquette. So that's the final decision of
So this is where this is exactly what happens. No, when one is basing the importance of the Siddhanta on a time, place, circumstance letter, this is what happens because one, of course, when Srila Prabhupada is saying it is true, but there is a time, place, circumstance component to his instructions to individual devotees. Why? Because nectar of devotion in the 6th chapter, Srila Rupa Goswami and then Srila Prabhupada explained that here he is giving 64 principles and then the Guru gives time, place, in the details. So on that basis, we understand Srila Prabhupada gives time, place, and circumstance instructions. So of course, it is the law of disciplic succession. Now, how is he applying to Tusta Krishna Maharaj particularly? It may not be what he has applied to the whole world. So that is on that platform. But main point is that this is not the letter he should have taken up. No, he's learned. He should go to Chaitanya Charitamrita and specifically what we have been discussing the the Adi Leela, first chapter, 34th to 58th verse. And why don't we go look at that? Because this is already going in that direction. And let's look at the.
Prabhuji, can I ask you a question on that?
Yes,
What
Prabhu.
we just heard?
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna. You mentioned how Srila Prabhupada's given particular, it seems like, particular instruction just for Tush. I don't know who we're talking about here, Tushta Krishna Maharaj, whoever he is.
Yes.
That instruction he gave is applicable to him. Are we saying that?
Yeah. It looks likely, I don't know what was in Srila Prabhupada's mind, but we have to see black and white Srila Prabhupada is writing that to Tushta Krishna.
Okay, can we post that letter? Is that already been posted here so we can read it?
Let us read that. Very good point. Can someone tell me which day it is? 1975, 2nd December, it seems, right?
Yeah, 2nd December 1975.
Okay. Someone wants to read this? Balaram Prabhu, you would like to read?
Yeah, I'll be happy to read it.
Okay.
Yeah, letter to Tushta Krishna, New Delhi, 2nd of December 1975. My dear Tushta Krishna Swami.
I just want to, one second. So you see, Srila Prabhupada in December, he is in India. It's just interesting, huh? Like his pastime that in summertime he's here in the US and Western countries and winter time he's in India. Okay, please carry on, Prabhu. Sorry to interject. Oh, you are on mute, Prabhu. Baram Prabhu, you're
Okay,
mute.
sorry,
Yep.
yeah.
Start from the
So,
beginning.
yeah, so nobody heard me say anything. So the New Delhi letter, 2nd of December 1975. My dear Tushta Krishna Swami, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 21st of November 1975. Every student is expected to become acharya. Acharya means, so now Prabhupada is qualifying acharya. Acharya means one who knows the scriptural injunctions and follows them practically in life and teaches them to his disciples. I have given you sannyasi with the great hope that in my absence you will preach the cult throughout the world and thus become recognized by Krishna as the most sincere servant of the Lord. So I am very pleased that you have not deviated from the principles I have taught, and thus, with power of attorney, go on preaching Krishna consciousness. That will make me very happy, as it is confirmed in the Guru Vastakam Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasada. Just by satisfying your spiritual master, who is accepted as the bona fide representative of the Lord, you satisfy Krishna immediately without any doubt. I am very glad to inform you that Sudama Vipra Maharaj is also now following my principles. So I am very happy to receive all this news. Thank you very
Very,
much.
very happy.
Yeah, I am very, very happy.
He's saying very, very happy.
Yeah, sorry. All this news. Thank you very, very much. Okay. Keep trained up very rigidly, and then
I just want to point this out, that how much he is happy when the disciples had fallen off and come back, no? How he becomes really, really, very, very happy.
so yeah, because that history we don't know. If you can shed some light, who is Tusta Krishna, by the way, and Sudama Vipra, what is this situation?
Sudama Vipra, I think it seems like they had fallen off and he came back. And Tushta Krishna Maharaj was, I think, in Hawaii with this devotee. What's the name? The
Swarup Siddhi, something like that.
yes,
Siddha
Swarup.
Swarup. Siddha Swarup
Yeah.
Prabhu.
Yeah. Go on, please. Yeah.
So keep trained up very rigidly, and then you are bona fide guru. And you can accept disciples on the same principle. But as a matter of etiquette, it is the custom that during the lifetime of your spiritual master, you bring the prospective disciples to him. And in his absence or disappearance, you can accept disciples without any limitation. This is the law of disciplic succession. I want to see my disciples become bona fide spiritual masters and spread Krishna consciousness very widely. That will make me and Krishna very happy. I hope this letter finds you in good health, blah, blah, blah. So it seems, you state that Prabhupada is saying this specifically to Tushta Krishna Maharaj, but simultaneously he's presenting the philosophical siddhanta of the Krishna conscious movement as he's putting forward, right?
So it looks like, right? But it is not so. Why? Because we hear by hearing from Srila Prabhupada himself too. You see? And let us go to why I would say that is because in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, okay, let's come to 7th chapter, 3rd verse. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is our summum bonum, the PhD, where all the Siddhanta is mentioned, right? And here in the text 3, you remember we had read that like 6 months back. It says, let's read that. Purve Guru Adi Chaya Tattve Kaila Namaskar Guru Tattva Kayachi Ebe Panchera Vichar. Synonyms. Purve, in the beginning, Guru Adi, the spiritual master, and others. Chaya, 6. Tattve, in the subjects of. Kaila, I have done. Namaskar, obeisances. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Guru Tattva, the truth in understanding the spiritual master. Kahiyachi, I have already described. Ebe, now. Panchera, of the 5. Vichara, consideration. Translation. In the beginning, I have discussed the truth about the spiritual master. Now, I shall try to explain the Panchatattva. Purport. In the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, the author Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has described the initiator spiritual master and the instructor spiritual master. In the words, beginning with the words, Vande Gurun Isha Bhaktan Isham Ishav Tarakan. In that verse, there are 6 transcendental subject matters, of which the truth regarding the spiritual master has already been described. Now the author will describe the other 5 tattvas, truths, namely Isha Tattva, the Supreme Lord, his expansion Tattva, his incarnation Tattva, his energy Tattva, and his devotee Tattva. Now we read when we go back to this, we went through this analysis that this is the first chapter, verse number 34th. First verse also is the same, 34th verse, and we'll come to that. But why we are considering this as the main verse of the pointing where the Guru Tattva is, rather than what Prabhu was saying, that in my opinion, law of disciplic succession is the main verse. In you see, Eh, he's trying to defeat or weaken the July 9th letter order by giving an opinion of another Guru Tattva principle. Then he should not say my opinion. We should say what is Acharya's opinion and what is actually the Guru Tattva verse. And Acharya's opinion, which Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is stating, and then in our disciplic success, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was already taught the Siddhanta coming from all the Goswamis, from Lord Chaitanya first to Sanatan Goswami and to Rupa Goswami. He learned the Siddhanta from them, and then much more from Jiva Goswami, Srila Jiva Goswami. And then he put it here. Further in our disciplic succession, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he commented on this verse in his Amrita Pravaha Vashya commentary. And this purport is actually his purport, which Srila Prabhupada is translating almost verbatim. And I can read that verse to you. Hold on. What he wrote. 1 second, let us read that.
I think, Prabhuji, we remember all this because we talked about it so much.
Yes, true. I was just going to make a video, and I was thinking we can send it to them and see if we can reply to it in a nice Vaishnava manner. Let's have a good discussion, and we'll learn from them. Maybe we are missing something. So this Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says in his in his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya commentary, I, the author, meaning Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing, have described Guru Tattva with a distinction of Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru in the first chapter. 6 Tattvas have been mentioned in the Vande Guru Isha Bhaktan verse. Now I am discussing the 5 Tattvas mentioned in this shloka after the Guru Tattva. This is his commentary. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is commenting like this, which Srila Prabhupada, we can see he has taken up this this purport, following. So this is where how we see, instead of us saying, no, I think this is what the Guru Tattva is, we go by the Acharya saying this is what the Guru Tattva is. And if we look at the 134, of course, the one is same Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan, and then 134 is the same verse in which the purport is there. So we will take that because Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Prabhupada explaining that it is explained there. So this is where it is explained. So in this verse, he starts explaining, and then right there, Srila Prabhupada writes, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami has composed a Sanskrit verse for the beginning of his book, and now he will explain it in detail. So now he will explain in detail, meaning the next verses. So the next verse is this: Mantra Guru Arayat Shiksha Guru Gana Tahara Charana Age Kariye Vandan. Mantra Guru is the initiating spiritual master, which is Diksha Guru and the Shiksha Guru. And here they are explaining this: I first offer my respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of my initiating spiritual master and all my instructing spiritual masters. See, it is so. This is where, if one wants to break July 9th letter, this is what one should read to break it. Or any other Guru Tattva for that, or any other argument for that matter, because Acharya is saying. And here we can see Srila Prabhupada, he starts, actually here, this whole purport is more or less Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati's purport of this verse in his Anubhashya commentary.
Hmm.
And Srila Prabhupada has almost transcribed it, translated it, almost what the essence, everything. And Srila Bhaktisandha Saraswati, he is quoting Srila Jiva Goswami's Bhakti Sandarbha to explain what is Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru. And in that Bhakti Sandarbha 202, if we go, this is how he is translated. It is all about, there is nothing about Pancharatrika Vidhi of initiation, nor the Vedic system of initiation. What Srila Prabhupada is writing in July 9th letter, it is not there in this purport. The only essence is who is the disciple. Other than that, the Pancharatrika system is not even there. So that is not Srila Prabhupada's emphasis, the Acharya's emphasis, July 9th letter. Even though the Pancharatrika system is set up and there is a need for it, requirement, that's why Srila Bhakti Saraswati implemented it. But that is not how we see what Guru Tattva is. You see, there is no dichotomy between them. And we have seen that right from the beginning. Srila Jiva Goswami in Bhakti Sandarbha, he starts talking about Bhagavata Vidhi. Of Bhagavata means he quotes this verse, with the Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, that whole Markine Bhagavata Dharma, which Srila Prabhupada wrote on his Jaladuta when he came in the poem. He gave these verses, and we can read them. But that is the Bhagavata Vidhi one is talking about, which is associating with the Bhagavata, Mahabhagavat, and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from him. That is our Bhagavata Vidhi of initiation. See? And that's when we look at that, then Tusta Krishna Maharaj, the letter, everything falls into perspective.
Okay, so can we focus on that now? Please
Yeah.
tell us this letter to Tusta Krishna, which for me personally, 1975, he said this to this specific person, but what Prabhupada says in 1977, specifically in his answer to, well, how should we conduct initiation? I take that as the last and foremost personally, and that's why I say it. But like I say, well, ISKCON, you have to see that we have a position with the July 9th letter. It's there, the Ritvik position. So you have to accept that. Similarly, they have a right now to say, here's a letter to Tusta Krishna Maharaj, where Srila Prabhupada is very specific in everything he's saying. Right? Can we go to that letter again?
Yeah, please, because I also want to see if he specifically uses the term initiation.
The letter to Tusta Krishna.
I know I am trying to keep this while
Because one of the things I'm finding as a fool is that when we ask a simple, clear question, we travel around the whole huge universe of this philosophy, which is very big and deep, and I kind of lose the focus on even what your answer is because it's so big, and it's difficult. And I can see maybe some devotees like me will just say, "Okay," and kind of forget their question and not get a clear, conclusive answer actually to their question.
you want to read this thing?
Yeah, I read it again. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we start from the top. Okay. My dear Tusta Krishna Swami. Now we should actually, it'd be nice to write to see what did Tusta Krishna write to Prabhupada actually. This letter that Prabhupada is acknowledging, it'd be nice to see what was in there. And then this is Prabhupada's reply. If we can find that, it would be great. Please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 21st of November, 1975. Every student is expected to become acharya. Now, what does acharya mean? One who knows the scriptural injunctions and follows them practically in life and teaches them to his disciples. I have given you sannyasi with the great hope that in my absence you will in my absence, it's important, in my absence you will preach the cult throughout the world and thus become recognized by Krishna as the most sincere servant of the Lord, which is applicable to all devotees, of course. So I am very pleased that you have not deviated from the principles I had taught, and thus with the power of attorney, go on preaching Krishna consciousness. That will make me very happy, as it is confirmed in the Guru Vastakam. Prabhuji, can you move the page? Okay. Guru Vastakam Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasada. Just by satisfying your spiritual master, who is accepted as the bona fide representative of the Lord, you satisfy Krishna immediately without any doubt. So again, what I see and as I'm reading, these are Prabhupada establishing principles. Right? I'm very glad to inform you that Sudama Vipra Maharaj is also now following my principles. So I'm very, very happy to receive all this news. Thank you very, very much. Keep trained up rigidly, and then you are bona fide guru. So the word very clear, whatever that means, it's another topic, is bona fide guru. And you can accept disciples on the same principle. So my question comes in here, what does Prabhupada mean here by same principle? Okay, we're gone. But as a matter of etiquette, it is a custom that during the lifetime of your spiritual master, you bring the prospective disciples to him, and in his absence or disappearance, you can accept disciples without limitation. This is the law of disciplic succession. I want to see my disciples become bona fide spiritual masters and spread Krishna consciousness very widely. That will make me and Krishna very happy. So, what I get from this letter is Prabhupada is giving him the green light. Go ahead.
Yeah, for Shiksha.
No.
No.
Talking about accept disciples, all these things.
Exactly.
You see, we take the direct meaning. He is giving him full authority. After he disappears, you should become guru and initiate disciples and do everything.
No. Where did he say initiate disciples? I don't see that.
Accept disciples.
Yeah,
on the
accept
same
it.
principles.
A Shiksha guru is also accepting disciples, no?
Okay, so look at this. Keep trained up very rigidly, and then you're bona fide guru. Whenever he talks about bona fide guru, he's talking about like accepting disciples. It's not about only, you can see wherever he's talking about bona fide disciples, it's
So
like that.
but a Shiksha guru doesn't have to be bona fide then?
I mean, see, there are two kinds of Shiksha Gurus, no? We have gone through that 146, 147, where there are two kinds of gurus and also two kinds of Shiksha Gurus earlier is talking about. One is a Sadhaka Guru, Shiksha Guru, and one is a pure devotee Shiksha Guru. And both can have disciples, no? But here, whenever Srila Prabhupada talks about bona fide guru, he talks about Diksha. You can see all over the place, it's like that. And especially when he says, accept disciples, law of disciplic succession, it is all about Diksha Guru. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. If you're talking to me or you're talking to
I thought we. So see, that's why I say it can become so confusing when one is going through all these letters and lectures. Okay, what do you say? John Prabhu has something to say.
I think you said something earlier about time, place, and circumstance, and I think in 1975, Srila Prabhupada had all high hopes for his movement and his disciples at that time. Now he's coming to the end of his life in 1977, and he's taking instruction from Krishna, is telling him how to move forward, what to do. Whatever was going on, he did not feel like he could leave that order in place. He felt like he had to change things. So he made the 1977 letter. Whatever was going on, whatever the consequences of that were, he felt like he had to change things. Whatever he mentioned earlier, I think, he didn't feel like that was possible.
So good. So the counter to that, Prabhu, is that what happens is with these instructions being there, and then another other instructions like July 9th letter, they are in dichotomy.
I understand.
And then that's why the whole fight will go on and it will never stop because both seem
He
like.
said time, place, and circumstance. The circumstances were different in 75 than they were in
But what
77.
that may be true. That may be true. I'm not doubting that, and I cannot doubt
No.
these instructions
Of
too.
course.
See,
Of course. They're both valid.
no, but it is so. See, that is why I say we need to put the Siddhanta in perspective. When Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada is writing like this is the place where Guru Tattva is. This answers all the questions. One can see that by reading this thing, that the Acharya is saying our disciplic succession is of Bhagavata succession because by associating with the pure devotee, we get affinity to hear Bhagavatam written by him, spoken by him. That is the highest method. Like one gets purified also internally by hearing and by the mercy, the blessing, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. That's how one gets the fastest purification. And that is what is being talked about. All our disciplic succession from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was that. Bhakti Srila Bhaktisana Saraswati, seeing that devotees are not purified enough to only follow that Bhagavata system of associating and hearing from a pure devotee, he introduced a little bit of Panchatrika system in it, in the Bhagavata Vidhi system, which is now these samskaras and everything. But what has happened now is that that is being taken as the main thing. Srila Prabhupada, whenever he is writing, he performed initiation ceremony throughout the pastime, manifest pastime, and then July 9th. These are all the small 1%, 2% of his whole initiation process. This is not the Diksha initiation process which is described in the 434 Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 7, the first 2, 3 pages. That is not the initiation is emphasized. That is part of it. The main is Bhagavata Vidhi. Now, when we look at the Bhagavata Vidhi, which is hearing, associating with the pure devotee who is speaking Bhagavatam, Tusta Krishna Maharaj's all these things fall away. Because the only way Tusta Krishna Maharaj can be a real bona fide guru from our principles if he also writes his own Bhagavatam.
Prabhuji, sorry, can I stop you there to just ask you a question to just become clear?
If I can just complete that chain of thought and then, so which basically you write a Bhagavatam plus you give Tadvidhi Pranipatena, you give Pariprashena Sevaya, you make services around it so that one can get purified. ISKCON is making that service, or real ISKCON is making Srila Prabhupada's services to please him. Yes, Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado. That whole structure is what Srila Prabhupada is doing. Anyone else who wants to be guru, they can go outside of ISKCON, which are not in encompassing Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam and his instructions of this Tadvidhi Pranipatena. And they can try to be, there is no bar on anyone trying to be. They can only come up to the level, they can bring their disciples up to the level till they are. And like what Prabhu you are saying, that he had high hopes. One can hope that he also gets empowered to become pure devotee or whatever and write his Bhagavatam, train his disciples to the level like the Gaudiya Math devotees are doing. They can try to do.
The way the movement was going, he had every reason to believe.
I mean, I don't know that, Prabhu. From this discipline, from this purpose, one doesn't see that, Prabhu. One has to write Bhagavatam. I mean, it has to be Bhagavatam based, no? Nectar of Devotion, when we see in Nectar of Devotion, chapter number 7, how to take shelter, Guru Ashraya, of the 4 principles of Guru Ashraya, one is Bhagavatam reading, hearing from, learning Bhagavatam from that Guru. So somebody has to really be engrossed in Bhagavatam and then teach it to his disciples and be experiencing the rasas of Bhagavatam. That is the Bhagavata Vidhi is being described in this 135. You can see that it's all about rasas.
Which is a much higher level.
Yeah. Yes, Balram.
Prabhuji, yeah, if I can go on to ask you, you said that if we understand it according to this text that we have been reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita, what Srila Prabhupada wrote in the letter to Shri falls away, like crumbles away as if it has no meaning. So that seems really kind of bit, for me, crazy and stupid, but okay. Can we just roll with this?
As an argument, yeah.
1975, Srila Prabhupada writes this letter to Tusta Krishna. And I'm sure if this letter is obviously bona fide, but I'm sure there are other people, other devotees, disciples like Tusta Krishna that Prabhupada has the same idea and concept for. Therefore, he's writing these statements and making these statements, I clearly see and feel, as principles for others to follow. It's applicable to anyone. Anyone who's following.
Hold on. Why do you say you should make a basis of it, no? And instead of saying you feel
it's clear. It's clear in the letter.
But it is not clear to me. So you have
to bring back the letter, please. Okay, bring the letter.
You have to base it on scriptural basis, Prabhu.
My scriptures, Prabhupada's letters also. It may not be yours, I don't know. But for me,
of my own this thing, it is the
fact. You're saying to me, base it on scripture, and you keep on saying this to me, it's like I'm bringing things from the back of my head. Right here, we see is Prabhupada's letter scripture or not?
It is, and it is. Okay, let us. I will explain what is being meant here. Hold on. Let me go to Nectar of Devotion.
No. Please stop there. Because again, we're going to jump. No. Please, I beg you. Let me get my question in and my thoughts before we jump around the universe. Sorry.
This is your question, no? About the.
No, not my question. Can we have the letter again, please? If you don't mind.
I will just make one point here about principle and detailed instructions. That is why the letter is not, in the weightage of importance, the letters are less important when we are talking about.
We know that. We've heard that already as a principle. We know that.
Okay.
Letters last, conversations second, books first.
When I'm saying scripture, when we are talking of Siddhanta, we should go to the books, not the letters for Siddhanta.
Okay. So a little conversation about this principle then, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, please, all devotees. So we have this Siddhanta that Srila Prabhupada firmly, concretely, solidly, conclusively writes in his Srimad Bhagavatam, in his Bhagavad Gita, in his Chaitanya Charitamrita. Okay. So then we have letters like Janai Life letter, where we are saying it's time, place, and circumstances, where Srila Prabhupada, our founder Acharya, is knowing, of course, all the Siddhanta based in his books. And then, according to time, place, circumstances, he's giving Janai Life letter. For whatever reason, we're thinking there was no one qualified then. Some are thinking he wants that eternally just safeguard everybody's under the shelter of Prabhupada. There could be many reasons. Okay. So the same way we're basing our position of taking initiation from Prabhupada on July 9th directive, which we're calling a letter. I don't find it in the books, right? So then the same way, this letter to Tusta Krishna, I'm trying to be completely objective. What I hear, what I read, I'm analyzing. In the same way, I'm not going to be, sectarian this way or that way. Okay. So the letter clearly, for me, Prabhupada is saying, you become Diksha Guru. Okay, so let's accept that. I just want to go into hypotheticals, not even hypotheticals real, but let's say Prabhupada gave this letter meaning directly what he says in it, that Tushta Krishna can we have that letter there? Okay. I'll just read the top, just see if there's anything there. But, Prabhupada is clearly saying you can become Diksha Guru, right? You can have your own disciples unlimitedly, blah, 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 blah. And this is the law of the Disciplic succession, something like that. Okay, let's roll with that. Tusta Krishna becomes his own guru, has his disciples now, blah, blah, blah. So can you please just help us understand? Tusta Krishna is a Diksha guru, has his own disciples, in ISKCON, stays in ISKCON, doesn't go out, doesn't form his own organization because his guru told him don't leave ISKCON, and he's sincere to Prabhupada. Okay, so now these two now together, how do these two work together? Can you
Can't work.
give us that?
That is the reason, no? See, I cannot make my opinion. That is not parampara. No one can make one's own opinion of how.
Prabhuji, we're not talking about opinions, please.
That is why I keep going back.
Why are you saying opinion when there is no base? No one is saying opinion.
Let me finish. No.
No.
I'm saying that
No.
I'm saying you are
You're
saying my
starting an
opinion.
argument from a false platform. You're starting, nobody can make their own opinion. But it's based on Prabhupada's letter, we're saying.
When you are saying, what do you think? I have to.
No, I'm not saying what you think. Sorry. If I said that, sorry. I didn't mean that. I'll take it back. Okay. I'm not interested in what you think. Please, can you, from the scripture, from what Prabhupada has written, how can these two, Tusta Krishna becoming the Diksha Guru, having his own disciples, staying in ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada being the founder Acharya, the Shiksha that we get, the Shiksha, whatever, how do these two, they can work together according to Prabhupada's instruction?
Okay, so let's go back to, we always have to go to Siddhanta is there, and we see first chapter, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, both are saying this is where Siddhanta of Guru Tattva is. On this basis, 135 basis, it's not possible.
What's not possible?
Of having either Tusta Krishna Swami or anybody who has not written Bhagavatam in the parampara and widely available, he can't become a guru.
Stop there. Okay, very good, very nice.
Teaching Bhagavatam.
With these, I'm getting some clarity. So according to what you're stating from scripture, is that unless Tusta Krishna Prabhu writes his own Bhagavatam, he cannot be Diksha Guru as Prabhupada writes in the letter, right?
Yeah.
So then my clear question, of course, any stupid person would ask, why Prabhupada gives this permission to him and this position to him? He knows, of course, he's not written Bhagavatam. He's not going to write Bhagavatam. And to add to this,
maybe he will. Maybe he will. The same. See, Bhagavatam is I'm not talking about the book Bhagavatam. Of course, the book Bhagavatam is the most important, but the principles of the Bhagavatam also matter, so that the essence of the Bhagavatam can be taught to the disciples by them hearing those principles daily basis. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya.
Okay, can I ask you this? What I see from Chaitanya Leela, there were so many gurus, bona fide gurus initiating other disciples from the Chaitanya tree that never wrote any book. Never wrote each one of them wrote their own Bhagavatam? Of course not. Yeah. So why not? I mean, because this is what Prabhupada is saying to me.
Yeah.
Is this letter, you become Guru, Diksha Guru, and you stay founded based on my books. It's his books that we're all following his books. So why these two can't be there?
Very good. Very, very, very good, Prabhu. I mean, this is an excellent question. And again, going back to the Siddhanta. Now, Bhagavatam is one aspect. We see the 7th chapter, we go. We often talk about this. Hold on. Evidence regarding devotional service. There's the 64 regulative principles. The first 3 are the most important. We have read that in 6th chapter. The first is Guru Padashraya. So in this, the 4 aspects of taking shelter of a bona fide guru are, the first one is accepting him as good as Guru, Sakshadhari. Second is learning Bhagavatam. This is confirmed in every scripture. and a disciple should accept the spiritual master as such, which is the first principle. Then the second principle is one should learn Srimad Bhagavatam seriously and with all respect and veneration for the spiritual master. Hearing and speaking Srimad Bhagavatam is a religious process which elevates one to the platform of serving and loving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The second principle. The third is the attitude should be to please. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado. Fourth is complete faith in the spiritual master. Yasya deve para bhakti tata deve guru. Four principles are required to take shelter. Then the next stage is to take initiation. Initiation is of course the tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashrena sevaya obdekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattva darshina. And that principle is three principles are there. One is to inquire, which is hearing is one important, but the other two are the issues in ISKCON. If somebody wants to be a guru, even let's say they write a Bhagavatam, okay, they're following this and guru, the disciples think they are equal to God, all these things. But what about the sevya, service? Because by serving, by trying to please the guru, one is pleasing Krishna, and that is how the revelation starts happening from Krishna in the heart. Transcendental Divya Gyan is revealed. That's the Tadvidi Pranipatena principle. And transcendental knowledge chapter is talking about that whole thing. So that can only, in ISKCON, this is all Srila Prabhupada's services, his instructions of what to do. His instructions are there, what to preach, how to preach. All of us are following his instructions.
Can you bring this back now to
Tusta Krishna, what he has to do, then he has to open his own institution.
Why?
Or he has to be a local guru.
Why? I don't get that. Why are you coming to that? I don't understand.
Yeah, or is one difference between all the other acharyas in our disciplic succession and Srila Prabhupada, the main difference is that they all were preaching locally, except Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Everyone was preaching locally to his disciples. So they don't need to write their Bhagavatam per se. They would be speaking the Bhagavatam daily. They will be teaching and giving services directly. But Srila Prabhupada, following Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, he is expanding throughout the world through his Bhagavatam all around the world. See, and services also to give simultaneously, otherwise the purification, the transcendent knowledge will not come with the Tadvidi Pranipatena principle. He has made ISKCON to accept those services and to give those services and regulate them.
Sorry, can I ask a question to build on that? Sorry, I hope you don't mind. I'm interrupting you because I just want each point to be very clear for me and for everyone. Okay, it seems like you're coming to the point where you're saying, maybe my head can't catch everything, but I caught this, that somehow disciples, devotees are not doing service, and because they're not doing service, that cycle is not fully complete, which I don't get, because let's say, for example, Nimai Pandit Prabhu has been instructed by Prabhupada that he can be Diksha Guru after Prabhupada leaves. Just Tusta Krishna, we're going to put you in there. So you're, of course, a disciple of Prabhupada, so you no need to read any Bhagavatam, write a new Bhagavatam. Of course not, my Guru has written perfectly. So I will just train each person, each of my disciples, according to the teachings and directions of Prabhupada, which means his Bhagavatam, wait. Which means his Bhagavatam, the whole system that he gave, of course, coming from Rupa Goswami and blah, 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 wake up early, chant 16 rounds, blah, 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 blah. Everything, let's say, generally we see happening with devotees around the world, no matter which group they are. But that's all based on Prabhupada's teaching, and they're serving, that is the service that they're doing actually under the direction of Prabhupada. You know, whether you're the next generation or next generation, as long as they keep the Bhagavatam, which is the central point here, that they're reading and following Bhagavatam, and all the services continues to be based on those instructions, they're doing service, right?
Yeah. So, a very good point. So, if I want to be Guru, what I will have to do is, first of all, to answer your question, then what is the need of anyone else? If Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam is being followed in his ISKCON, where he has given all the instructions, I mean, why anyone else is required? The main principle, Tadviri Pranipatana, and this nectar of devotion, and the first principle of approaching the Guru, taking shelter of the spiritual master, initiating, is being done. The Bhagavata initiation we are
Can I
talking.
answer your question? You said, why is there a need for anyone else? Can I answer that?
Yeah, yeah. What will they give separately?
They're not giving separately anything. That's the main point, actually. If they continually base themselves and their teachings on the Bhagavatam, by which you're giving these disciples will build their own independent relationship with Prabhupada and Bhagavatam also. And they're given what ISKCON is now calling, you need a living guru, right? I need a living guru, that's true. But that
Why?
living guru for
Why,
me,
why do you need a living Guru? Why do we?
that living guru for
Diksha
me
Guru we are talking about. Yeah.
is not a new Diksha Guru, it's devotee association, whether it be Nimai Pandit Prabhu, whether it be Pradyumna Prabhu, whether it be Krishna Prabhu. So that's the living Guru association that I need to keep me enthusiastic, pull me when I'm going the wrong way, and this, the other.
You're
So
going in separate directions, no? So we already know from Adi Leela.
no, wait. Let me
No,
finish.
no,
Okay.
you're
No,
already
wait, let me
going in
finish.
a whole different.
Prabhuji, wait. So then the question comes, this is where the real question is, actually, when we haven't answered it yet, is how come Srila Prabhupada gave such a letter to Tusta Krishna? The example is there, that you become Diksha Guru.
He
You
can't
take
do it in
disciples.
ISKCON. He can't do it in ISKCON.
Where does he say that? Prabhupada doesn't say that in the letter. So why are you saying that?
Why? Because Srila Prabhupada already said that in 135. He had already written.
No. Prabhupada is saying,
To
he's not.
understand the Prabhu.
I don't see in that letter, get out of ISKCON. Okay, you want to be Diksha Guru, go out of ISKCON, start your own organization.
He doesn't say you can do it in ISKCON. You can't do it. Why? Because of the scriptures are already talking about it, no?
This is a misunderstanding, sorry. As far as I see, with the letter,
Explain why it is a misunderstanding.
tell me something.
Yeah.
Is Tusta Krishna his disciple in ISKCON right now or not? Or is he outside of ISKCON?
Somewhere outside.
Okay. Can we have that letter? Can we find the letter?
Oh, you mean in 75? See, already Siddha Swarup was already doing like that.
I'm not talking about Siddha Swarup.
Because
I'm
they were
talking
in the
about
same group.
Tusta Krishna. I'm talking about Tusta Krishna in
They
1975.
were in the similar group. So problem was that Siddha Swarup was already a guru before he met Srila Prabhupada.
Not talking about Siddha Swarup, Prabhu. Tusta Krishna.
They were in the same group. That is
What do you mean? What does that mean, same group?
Krishna, they were in the same, it is the same context, Prabhu. So anyway, let's not even go to the context, history, nothing. We have to look at that is why I say that unless one has understood and imbibed the Siddhanta, which the Acharya is saying, the Guru Tattva is explained in these verses, unless one sees from that everything else, one gets confused.
There's no confusion. We know the Siddhanta, you know the Siddhanta,
Okay, so
Prabhupada knows the Siddhanta, and he's writing a letter,
I understand what you're saying. Now, let me ask you the questions from the 135. That is the truth, right? That is where Guru Tattva is explained. The
both
truth
are true.
regarding, no. You
Of
can't
course, yeah.
both are the truth. Like that, like a Siddhanta truth. First one has to see what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, all saying we are explaining that Guru Tattva there. So that is the Siddhanta, the truth.
Okay.
Now everything else is an aspect of the truth, not the full truth.
Okay, so tell me, what is this letter in that line? What this letter is a lie?
Let me ask you. No. It's a time, place, circumstance. No, the Siddhanta.
Which we have to accept. Which we accept, yes?
Yes. So why? So let me ask you this question then. Based on 135, I'll ask you this question. Where is the Bhagavatam? It has to come, no? Without the Bhagavatam,
What do you mean, where is the Bhagavatam?
from 135, you can understand that the Guru should be teaching all the rasas to the disciple. One should be associating with the spiritual master. Bhagavata Vidhi process should be happening.
Can we open this letter, please? The Tusta Krishna.
I want to go to the letter right now because you are
No,
just.
no, I'm just going to show you that Bhagavatam is there. You're saying there's no Bhagavatam,
Okay.
right?
Sorry.
Is that right?
Okay, let's go. Show me where the Bhagavatam and is. Where is
Okay.
it?
Okay. If you just be patient with us
You
also,
keep
sorry.
trained up very rigidly, and then
Okay,
you're.
start. Can we show from the top, please? Okay, right. Every student is expected to become acharya. Acharya means one who knows the scriptural injunctions and follows them practically in life and teaches them to his disciples. So these scriptural injunctions that Prabhupada has mentioned here and the practical application is everything that Prabhupada has taught us, which is based on Bhagavatam, and the scriptural injunctions here is Bhagavatam. Correct?
Fine. I agree. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, injunctions and follow them practically. I have given you sannyasi with the hope that in my absence you will preach the cult throughout the world and thus become recognized by Krishna as the most sincere servant of the Lord. Okay. So I'm very pleased that you have not deviated from the principles I have taught you. So what Prabhupada is teaching him, read my books 2 hours a day or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Whatever principles, getting up morning.
Yeah. Okay.
chanting.
And thus, with power of attorney, Prabhupada's given him power of attorney.
Yeah.
Go on preaching Krishna consciousness as you are. So basically, he's happy what he's doing. He's saying that's the right way. Keep on going. Right? And what is he doing? Basing reading, giving classes from Bhagavatam, teaching people Bhagavatam, giving them the Bhagavatam book. Okay. I'm very pleased that you have not deviated. That will make me very happy as it is confirmed in the Guru Vastakam Yasya Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, just by satisfying the spiritual master, who is accepted as the bona fide representative of the Lord. You satisfy Krishna immediately without doubt. So again, scriptural basis. I am very glad to inform you that Sudha is also now following principles. I'm very, very happy to share you all this good news. Thank you very, very much. Okay, now keep trained up. So basically he's saying keep this system that you're following rigidly. Then you are bona fide spiritual, you are bona fide guru. You can accept disciples on the same principle. So this same principle now, it was actually a question of mine that hasn't been answered yet, but the same principle means how Prabhupada is teaching, whatever he's teaching, you do the same. Just copy that. Is that right?
Yeah.
Right. So, and that copying means everybody reads my books, everybody reads Srimad Bhagavatam. Correct?
Whose books?
Prabhupada's books, of course.
So Guru means he has to have his own new something, no?
Yeah, see, okay. This is where now we get the sticky point.
Otherwise, why do we need a new Guru?
No. Okay, wait.
Right.
Prabhuji, otherwise, why do we need Guru is not our business.
No. That is the whole. See, that is where I see where you are going with it. Okay, let's go to.
You don't need to see where I'm going. You need to see where Prabhupada is going.
I
In this
understand.
letter, he
like that.
authorizes.
Okay, let's look at 4.2. This is the parampara system. No? This is where it is being talking about
Prabhuji,
parampara.
This is my.
Why do we need a guru?
I'm sticking. I have this problem with you with this. You have a letter now with Prabhupada stating this very clearly. And then you're saying, no, I'm not going to accept that because in the books of ours, this is stated this, and I understand it, that he has to write his own Bhagavatam. Prabhupada doesn't say that.
Right. So the thing is,
Prabhupada is making his time and place and circumstances, like the July 9th letter. He's giving this to Tusta Krishna. You can take disciples. You can become. I don't like it, but that's what Prabhupada is saying.
Whether in ISKCON or not, he's not saying.
He doesn't say.
Exactly, no. So to understand whether he can do it in ISKCON or not, then you have to go some other place, no?
What are you saying? Prabhupada is that stupid?
Why are you assuming he's saying he is do it in ISKCON then, from that letter? Why are you assuming it?
Well, actually, good. This is a question point I started at the beginning. Tusta Krishna Maharaj Is he a Prabhupada disciple operating within
By that,
ISKCON or not in
don't go by
1975?
that at all, historical fact or anything. As
Of course, yeah.
a principle we are talking, no?
No, no, no.
No, you have to take, if you go beyond the letter, then
Prabhuji, you
be
have to accept what Prabhupada is
beyond the
saying
letter.
here. You can't
But-
delete it.
Prabhu, one second. Hold on. Without interjecting, if you can answer this question. If we
Okay.
go, either we stay within the bounds of the letter or not. If we stay within the bounds of the letter, if you are saying don't go anywhere else, fine. But in that letter, he's not saying you go, you be guru in ISKCON. It is very clear. He's not saying that. He's not saying you can, you cannot. To understand that, we have to go outside of the book.
Okay, you
Out
just
of
made
the
a
letter.
statement. You
Yeah.
just made a statement that Prabhupada is not saying. You're not saying I don't know. You're saying he's not saying that he should become guru within ISKCON, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so therefore I ask.
Yeah.
Therefore I'm asking. In 1975, Tusta Krishna Maharaj, was he a disciple of Prabhupada operating within ISKCON? If he
Now you are
was,
asking me, this is a specific question to one particular disciple. Are you saying now this is a time, place, and circumstance, or is it a principle? You have to decide that, no?
both.
No. First of all, whether if it's a principle, then you can't go beyond the letter.
What does that mean?
I am saying that to understand the principle, you have to go beyond the letter. You understand the time, place, and circumstance, you have to go beyond the letter. You are saying, no, to understand the principle, don't go beyond the letter. But you are saying for time, place, and circumstance, you should go beyond the letter. That is not correct, no? That's not the correct logic, no?
I'm confused. Say it in more simpler, clearer English for all of us.
So, letter is insufficient to understand the principle because it is not saying whether you can do it in ISKCON or not ISKCON. To understand that answer to that question is the whole point. Because if you can't understand it through what the acharyas are saying, what initiation is, you can't understand this letter. You can't understand whether it can be done within ISKCON or not. Because see, anybody can go and make guru, no? And make disciples whole. Everybody is doing it. But in ISKCON, which Srila Prabhupada 7, Adi Leela 7:171 says, Lord Chaitanya has made ISKCON for the whole, to deliver the whole world. That ISKCON, can someone, another person become a guru or not? He is not saying in that letter, you have to go to 135 to understand that. And 434 and 42 also. Bhagavad Gita 42. These are all Siddhantic words. So see,
Right.
this law of
Let me-
disciplic succession,
Let me ask you this then for simple fools like me. You are Tushta Krishna Maharaj, you get this letter from Prabhupada. Do you understand that Prabhupada is saying that you stay in ISKCON or you get out of ISKCON?
First of all, if I am there, if I get a letter like this, I will think that Srila Prabhupada thinks I have material motives. That's why he's writing to me, and I will surrender and really look deep inside of me to see why I even want to be guru. Why did Srila Prabhupada is thinking I want to be guru?
Okay, let's forget what you think and feel and just what the letter is instructing you to do.
So,
On that letter, is Prabhupada telling you you have to leave ISKCON or stay in ISKCON?
see, Prabhu, these are all speculations, no? To answer that, you have to go beyond this. You are just asking me something hypothetical or to Tushta Krishna. So that is where you are saying Tushta Krishna will think how you are thinking, I want to be guru. But it is not
Actually, what I'm saying is so basic and clear that it's clear for me.
because you are
But
imposing your preconceived notion that it can be done in
I don't have any preconceived notion.
Okay, so how can it be done in ISKCON or not? How will Tushta Krishna know? How can we know what Tushta Krishna will feel?
I don't care what Krishna actually Tushta Krishna feels. I'm focused on what Prabhupada is saying. And if Tushta Krishna is Prabhupada's disciple and we're operating in ISKCON and Prabhupada says this to him, he's to continue doing that in ISKCON.
Where does
I
he
don't
say?
understand I don't
Where-
understand the problem. I don't understand the problem. actually.
Problem
For him
is,
to stay in ISKCON as Prabhupada's disciple, except disciples keep on teaching them the same thing. You know, I would go detail, you know, you can become bona fide guru. You know, obviously, Tusta Krishna is nowhere like Prabhupada or on the level of Prabhupada. So, but Prabhupada is giving this permission. So it looks like he's saying, yeah, you can be like that, you can do it. I mean, this is Prabhupada's words we're talking about. And that will continue in
Where?
ISKCON, not outside.
Where does he say in ISKCON? That is, you are putting, Prabhu.
Where does he say out of ISKCON then?
That is why, no? So to do that, to understand that, the question to whether or not one has to go out of this letter.
I think you're complicating it.
No.
You know, I think that Srila Prabhupada, in his whole endeavors that he did here in the United States, was looking for one person that he could give the position to. Because he said, you become guru on my order, no other way. Right? So he's encouraging. He said, you can do this. You can do this. He's encouraging everyone, every one of his disciples. But when he came near his death and he looked around and saw what was happening at that time, he didn't feel anyone was qualified. So he gave a final order and said, okay, from now on, this is how the movement will go on. That's what I get from this. You know, he's encouraging to find that one person. And he even
But the point is
said
that all these, what you are saying, this is all good for people
and
who
it's also
think
Shastra
where it is Shastric base, that this is what Prabhupada was thinking.
You're right.
Where,
That's Shastrically
where
correct.
does, how can you, what can you, it's your realization, I respect that, is for you to feel and understand and go forward. But to implement it within ISKCON or to new people to tell, you have to base this understanding on Srila Prabhupada's own words and statements saying that this is what I was thinking. No? We can't, for our understanding is one thing, but to extrapolate it for this
To
is
the
how,
masses.
yeah, we can't like say that without basing it on Srila Prabhupada again.
Well, at this stage, you know, because of what's happening, everybody has their opinion and it's all
Yeah.
speculation. This is what I think because of this. This is what I think because of that. And that's all that's happening anyway.
So that is why I say we
You
have
know,
to, if
it's
you
a
can't do
simple
that
thing.
until you go to the Moola scriptures, which is Chaitanya Charitamrita 135.
Prajumna Prabhu has a
Whether it is
question.
complicated, not complicated, whatever it is, this is where the
Acharya has to be empowered by the previous Acharya, right? He has to be given the position. It's not right, isn't it?
yes, Pradyumna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So one principle we are reading in that Chaitanya Charitamrita, these 34 to 58 loka.
25.
Yeah. Another principle that Srila Prabhupada is writing to Tusta Krishna Maharaj. So, Prabhu, that is absolutely right, and that we are saying that is time, place, and circumstantial. So, if we go on that, what are the circumstances that what was happening at that time? As you told that Tushti Krishna Maharaj was in the group of that Siddha Swarup Maharaj. They want to go out. Yes, about Siddha Swarup Maharaj, I have heard that he want to accept disciples and all. So only that circumstance, what was the situation, then we can judge that Guru Tattva, that because from Chaitanya Charitamrita we can see that nobody can become the spiritual master. Conditioned soul, all these four aspects that Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya and all those we have heard. But then only the circumstance, what was the circumstance that can justify the answer, unless both are contradictory with that in that latter principle and that what we are discussing in Guru Tattva.
See, the thing which I wanted to bring up and see this is very important to hear this from Srila Rupa Goswami in chapter 6, how to discharge devotional service. The first para, no, it describes this part. Srila Rupa Goswami states that his elder brother, Sanatan Goswami, has compiled Hari Bhakti Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas, and therein has mentioned many rules and regulations to be followed, which are 64. No, some of them are very important and prominent, and he will now mention these very important items for our benefit. So, okay. So out of all the rules and regulations which Vaishnavas should follow, and Hari Bhakti Vilas has confirmed, Srila Rupa Goswami is compiling 64 of them in his book, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. The purport of this statement is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only basic principles, not the details. Then he goes on to say how the spiritual master, particular spiritual master, gives the details. For example, a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instruction of his master is considered detailed. For example, if one is following the instruction of his spiritual master and that instruction is different from the instruction of another spiritual master, this is called detailed information. But the basic principles of acceptance of a spiritual master is good everywhere, although the details may be different. He doesn't want to go into details here, but wants to place before us only the principles. So the details are what our spiritual master does. And Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, no? And then his follow-up instructions, many of the how to implement those instructions, there are principles even in those details. He has given in his instructions of how ISKCON should be run, how much emphasis to place on deity worship, not deity worship, different countries, different circumstances. He has given so many detail of these detailed instructions. See? So that forms the whole, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. That seva, no, the instructions, he has expanded into so many like that. So it is impossible that anyone else can be guru. There is no point of being a guru unless they start giving, okay, this is not practical now, Srila Prabhupada's instructions. His, first of all, his philosophy, his principles will always be the same. The details are no more practical anymore. Then you need another guru. See, this.
What he said, I've given you the law books for the next 10,000 years.
Yeah.
He put a timestamp,
Yeah.
right?
But that is not a quote which you can find anywhere. This particular.
Really?
That's why it's okay. So this, if you see this evam parampara praptam, this is the law of disciplic succession, right? And if you see here, it doesn't talk about people. It talks about philosophy. See, the principle is the philosophy. Evam parampara praptam imam rajashya vidu sa kalena mata yogo nashta parantapa. The transcendental philosophy. The supreme science was thus received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood it in that way. But in course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. When you go in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is not talking about people, devotees. He's talking about the science. If the science is intact, then the parampara is intact. He's talking about everywhere, if you can see. As soon as the original purpose was scattered by the motives of the unscrupulous commentators, there arose the need to re-establish disciplic succession. He doesn't say there were no guru. He's talking about the purpose which was the science of the devotional service. 5,000 years ago, it was detected by the Lord himself that disciplic succession was broken. How it was broken? Therefore, he will talk about it. And therefore, he declared that the purpose of the Gita appeared to be lost. The purpose of the Gita, not people, not devotees, acharyas. In the same way, at the present moment also, there are so many editions of the Gita, but almost all of them are not according to authorized disciplic succession. Again, the knowledge, transcendental knowledge, there are innumerable intelligent this spirit of maniac. Since there is a great need of an edition of the Gita in English, as it is received in the Parampara disciplic succession, an attempt is made herewith. See, it's not even talking about I am the guru, another guru is required, nothing. It's the and there's a transcendental knowledge chapter, which we know from 434. When we surrender, then the transcendental knowledge is revealed, by which 435 happens when we see each one as part and parcel. And forward it goes on how the Krishna then reveals the knowledge in the heart.
So, Prabhu, we have just seen that now what is the qualification of a guru, that just like Yasya Prasada is all, just like that Tusta Krishna Maharaj is not on that level, but Prabhupada is allowing him that you should do that. So I want to know what is the circumstances and why Srila Prabhupada is saying him that you can become this. What was the history or what was behind that? Because Prabhupada
And
is
yeah, and to add to Pradyumna's question also, I'll add this to the same question, you can continue. In Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, he was the Chaitanya tree, and I've read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that people who met him went on and became gurus of villages, and they taught the science of bhakti, or they taught prema bhakti, or whatever. Those who heard from them went on to other villages and taught, and thus the Chaitanya tree expanded like that. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own manifested time, as I've understood, there were many, many gurus, right? Maybe they didn't even call themselves gurus, but they were accepted like that and taught because they went on to just share, like a postman, this information to others, and others got prema bhakti and got bhakti through this. So in that Chaitanya tree, in that Chaitanya Leela, simultaneously in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, there were thousands and thousands of other gurus, no? Or yes?
Yeah, there are many, yeah.
So there we have an example in Chaitanya Leela that Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the trunk, the root and the trunk of the tree, but then there were many, many branches and many sub-branches and blah, 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 simultaneously. So why do we have, if we have that in our science, why we have this objection to somehow Prabhupada in ISKCON being the tree ISKCON, let's say, and his disciples staying in ISKCON, acting as some kind of lower guru, whatever, as Prabhupada's indicated in his letter, whatever that means, he be guru, has his own disciples, but they're based on Prabhupada's books and Prabhupada's system.
So
Why can't that fit like Chaitanya's time?
can't, because it doesn't fit with Adi Leela 135, 434. It doesn't fit.
Okay, you said it doesn't fit because
Logically, I mean, because
they have to write their own book, you're saying.
own Bhagavatam, which is principles will always remain the same, but the details are already there in Srila Prabhupada's purports. Plus, extension to that, he has set up ISKCON, real ISKCON with his instructions, in which his instruction, the Sevaya part, no, his detail is given. Now, in ISKCON, it is his, you are trying to please him. His instruction means trying to please him. So, Yasya Prasadat can only work to him. It is his instructions to please.
Yes, but we're pleasing him. Let's just say hypothetically, I don't, but let's say a disciple of Tusta Krishna in whatever is waking up early, chanting 16 rounds, as given by Prabhupada.
So that
As given by Prabhupada, this disciple is focusing on Tusta Krishna, but reading Prabhupada's book. So in that scenario, in that situation, is Prabhupada pleased with that disciple or not pleased?
the problem that we have, I don't want to go through that thing again. The Maya is gone and real is gone.
Forget Maya ISKCON and this ISKCON, man. I'm asking you a basic question.
Because
If a disciple of Tusta Krishna,
means the instruction is there, but one is not focusing on Srila Prabhupada, then how it is pleasing? It is only a little bit pleasing, no? Partially pleasing. Like
okay,
you're
okay,
kind
so
of
partially pleasing, yes?
Yes.
So partially pleasing, yes?
Yeah.
And that partially, me and you cannot gauge and cannot understand because maybe Prabhupada's 100% pleased, maybe he's 10% pleased.
This is sentimentalism. No, Prabhupada has already told how to please me. And if we are not doing that, how we are gauging somebody's
Okay.
Prabhupada's.
Okay.
Oh, no,
My sentimentality, I'll show you here, right here. Okay, so that's the letter we've been reading, right? Okay. So I'm very pleased that I'm very glad. Can we scroll down? Oh no, scroll up. Just a little bit, not too much. Okay. I have given you sannyas with the great hope that in my absence, you will preach the cult throughout the world and thus become recognized by Krishna as the sincere servant of Krishna. Blah, 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 blah. Where is it saying? Where does it part say where he can accept disciples? Okay. Acharya means, he's telling him, he's saying, okay, here's Prabhupada. Every student, I'm going to make it personal. You can correct me after. Every one of my students is expected to become Acharya. What do I mean by Acharya saying to you? Acharya means that you know the scriptural injunctions, you follow them practically in your life, and you teach them to your disciples. I have given you all sannyasi with the great hope that in my absence you'll preach this cult throughout the world, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so here Srila Prabhupada is directly saying that you become who you are, continue going on who you are. This is Acharya. You accept disciples, you teach them what I'm teaching you. And of course, Prabhupada clearly understands and is based on his Bhagavatam, and everybody focuses on his Bhagavatam. So he's saying at the bottom that in this way you please me very much, and by pleasing me very much, you please Krishna very much. It's there. I'm not in favor of this. You have to understand also, right? For me, I accept the 77 order as final, and it overrides all previous stuff. I'm just saying it's here. Prabhupada is saying it.
Oh, but before, okay, July 9th letter, all of these letters are not the Siddhant Guru, like the foremost is what Bhagavatam, see, we have to put both of them together. They can't
I
stand
agree.
on,
I agree.
So 135, Adi Leela 135 plus July 9th letter, then we understand the whole picture. That, so because July 135 is talking about the principle, Siddhanta, but the implementation of it in ISKCON, it's not talking about. July 9th letter is talking about the implementation, but the principle it is not talking about. The Siddhanta is there in 135 and connected then verses all around it. That makes it full. And then to understand it further, then you have so many other verses and all the other things. So from that basis, this letter, it is very time, place, circumstance. It cannot fit in ISKCON. Both of these, principle and July.
I disagree. I mean, I'm going to say that our limited conditioned mind and whatever mind is thinking it can't fit. But Prabhupada, it can fit, and I'm fitting it, and it's there, and I'm saying it.
So
I mean,
limited
Prabhupada is saying,
mind is limited, fine. Your mind is better than me. Please make it fit.
Prabhuji, for
Without
me, in 1975, for me, it's very easy fit, right? First of all, for me, I'm a stupid guy. So if Prabhupada says it, okay, done. For me, Prabhupada is the scripture, Prabhupada is conclusion, Prabhupada is Siddhanta, Prabhupada is everything. But if he's saying in this letter, as I said, it would be better for me to know the background of this. Where's Tusta Krishna Swami coming from? What's
that
the
is where you
situation?
fail. As soon as you say that, no, you go out of this letter, that means you fail.
I don't fail.
Tusta Krishna Maharaj, when he's reading the letter, he is understanding it. But I or you, when we are reading the letter, it is that because we are not able to understand, that means it is time, place, and circumstance.
What do you mean we're not able to understand? I understand it clearly.
But you are saying we have to go outside to find out what was the circumstance.
I don't say that. See, don't change my words. I said it would be better for me to know the situation in which Prabhupada wrote this. Better. But let's say I don't know anything. I just read this letter. I'd understand clearly what Prabhupada said as it is. I'm not going to change it. I'll go out of ISKCON to do that. You have to write your own Srimad. No, Prabhupada didn't say that here. So I take it as it is stated. This person is his devotee, is his disciple, he's in ISKCON, just continue to do that. That's what he's saying. Simple to me.
Okay. So
of course, like I said, 77 letter overrides this.
So if you need,
Still,
if you have
Tusta
to,
Krishna can come and say to us now, I have my order. I'm going to be Diksha Guru. We have the letters here.
So what happens is when these kind of, let us say somebody is given a letter saying that, you see, you can divorce and you can marry another person. Or it says, okay, what you should do is you can do this. This is also quoting some principles from one scripture and another scripture, because whenever Srila Prabhupada is giving instructions, he's not basing it on some principles. He is just modifying some details here and there, but always he is basing it on the principles given in the scriptures. So now you see where I'm going. All these instructions given in the letters to individuals, when let's say it has to be implemented throughout,
No,
let's say
wait. We're not, Prabhuji, we're not talking about implemented throughout. We're not talking about any of that. Like you said,
in
a
ISKCON.
nice example, that if a disciple comes and Srila Prabhupada has been preaching throughout the book, throughout his lecture, as Shrutikiri became very confused, Prabhupada, how can you allow this disciple to divorce and marry another disciple? That you've never taught that. You've completely taught against that. And what did Prabhupada say? I'm allowing because he would do it anyway. And if I say no and he does it anyway, it'll be worse for him. Therefore, I'm making this adjustment on a, let's say, personal basis.
Can I stop in there? One second. But let's say Abhiram Prabhu got this letter actually. So he reads the letter, yes, you can get divorced. So now he takes that letter, goes to the GBC meeting and says, see, Srila Prabhupada wrote to me, one can do that. Now you make that as a policy. See, this is what you are trying to say. No? With this letter.
No, I'm not trying to say, and stop saying things I don't say, Nimai Pandit Prabhu. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying we have an example. We have an example. Prabhupada's own writing right here, telling this devotee to act like this, like this. It's there. I mean, this is evidence. It's Prabhupada's letter, and as you just said very nicely, I like this sentence, that Prabhupada is, of course, always dealing with his disciples and everyone with time, place, and circumstances, personalized letters, but still based on Siddhanta, because Prabhupada is the Siddhanta, right? Now, when we have this letter, we have to say, okay, it's done. Here is an example of it being done. So in certain time, place, and circumstances, which we should understand very maturely, very nicely, we can apply this, we can apply the divorce of some devotee, but it is not for the general masses. It is not the general principle.
Why
It
not?
is not the general principle. But there is
okay,
space.
let's stop there, right there. It is not for general masses. It didn't say that in Abhiram's letter, no?
You understand it clearly.
Why? How? You can
Because Srila Prabhupada always preached against divorce.
Good. So let us, 1 second, if we stop there. Now, this letter, again, because of which, this letter also we have to take it. He's preached it in Chaitanya Charitamrita everywhere. What is a guru?
Okay, first, wait, before you go there. Just answer me this.
I'm looking at this
In
letter.
Prabhupada,
I have
wait,
135 in mind, so that means
please,
it's only
please,
for it.
Prabhuji. In Prabhupada's letter to Abhiram, can you divorce? Can he divorce? Yes or no? Yes. Can Tusta Krishna become a Diksha Guru? Yes. You have to accept that.
I'm accepting that. But in ISKCON or not, I'm not accepting. ISKCON, whether one can start divorcing, it's a policy, that is not I'm accepting. No? Similarly, these are time, place, and circumstance instructions given to Tusta Krishna, to Abhiram, to many other devotees. They can go and do it on their own.
Okay, then Tusta Krishna is saying, well, wait a minute. Prabhupada told me never leave ISKCON.
Right. So then he goes
So that means this letter is
he has to go
within
to other
ISKCON.
disciples. So he has to go to other disciples, the leaders in ISKCON. I'm not talking about what is happening in ISKCON now. They are actually using this. I'm talking real ISKCON, how it should have been. Goes to devotees and says, Srila Prabhupada gave me this letter that I should be guru. Now, just like, let's say, and he is one devotee coming to them saying that Prabhupada told me I should be guru. I should be allowed to initiate in ISKCON, you know. Similarly, Abhiram also is standing right there and he says, he told me I can divorce. My friend also wants to divorce and be everything. You should implement these policies in ISKCON. So now what the GBC should do is look at Srila Prabhupada's this letter, Abhiram's letter, and his philosophy, which he has given in Siddhanta, and then implement it, saying, okay, then basically process it. That this one, Tusta Krishna Maharaj, it is given to you. This is not the Siddhanta as we understand it to be practiced in ISKCON. As under a pure devotee Mahabhagavat, his instructions are already there. We are Yasya Prasadat Bhagavata Vidhi, we are Nityam Bhagavata Seva, we are following already Srila Prabhupada. You are not going to be able to give us any new instruction, but Srila Prabhupada instructed you. We tell you, okay, go and make your own institution and either create your own Bhagavatam, do whatever. Just like they will tell
That part is your speculation.
one second. Like they will tell Abhiram that your friend who wants to use that letter, he can do it, but we cannot make a policy like this. Similarly,
Yeah, but Abhiram doesn't need to go out of ISKCON to get divorced, right?
only Abhiram, not others, no?
If Prabhupada gives, let's say, Abhiram permission to do that in that situation, we as human, as whatever devotees, humans, whatever you call it, you have to say, if Prabhupada said, absolutely no way, Abhiram, no divorce, no way, closed, and said that repeatedly to others, then we'd know. In ISKCON, no way, we don't allow it. Nobody allows it anyway. But the fact that he did, then he's saying, Prabhupada is saying, this is how I want you to become, blah, 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 blah. But when the situation is like this, we don't want, but we can allow. Well, we don't want to say yes, but we say yes. Like 0.1.
But the instruction, this is a different instruction. No? Like, okay, if you can't, it's an example we are taking, comparing divorce with the guru and disciple and everything. In the we are taking those two examples together only for the purpose of how they are both time, place, and circumstance instructions. You can't bring it to all. They are not similar in every aspect, because divorce or not is a personal thing. Here, taking initiation or not, it is a personal with the guru, but also then it affects everything else. Everything else in ISKCON. It's everybody gets affected by it. No, it's not just one guru and one disciple, because everybody else also starts thinking what they like now they are doing. Oh, we also need somebody else. We also need to do this thing. This whole thing has become like like an embarrassment, like a phantasmagoria. That we like 135 Adi 135, the Acharya's principle of Bhagavata Vidhi is just gone down the drain.
Great. Can you explain that? If Tusta Krishna keeps, let's say, he sees himself whatever he sees himself,
Let's
but
go to others.
he follows the principles that Prabhupada taught him. Read my Srimad Bhagavatam, wake up early in the morning, chant 16 rounds, go out on service, worship deities, open temples, preach, blah, blah, blah. He keeps that, right? More or less, any baby, even fool like me, can read one Prabhupada book and understand generally what Prabhupada wants us to do. And we try to apply it as best we can in our situation. So why, in this situation, you explain, why can't Tushta Krishna apply that? He sees himself, let's say, as a guru, but he's saying, Prabhupada is the Acharya here. You read his book, and these instructions are repeating. You read Prabhupada. So, naturally, I think somebody like Tushta Krishna Maharaj, who is, if he is a little bit sincere as he sounds he is, that time, if he stayed like that, everybody will make the first and foremost and biggest connection to Prabhupada. They're worshiping Prabhupada every day, reading from his books, getting nourished. All the Vani actually is coming from Prabhupada's books. Tushta Krishna is also just repeating what Prabhupada says, right? So I don't see, if that's done properly, why the system can't continue to work, because actually in that situation, Prabhupada is the real Diksha Guru. because all of Vani is coming from him, and his pleasure is the one getting to Krishna's, not Tusta Krishna, unless he becomes a pure devotee, which obviously he isn't.
We have discussed this many times before, and you see, and I think we were discussing a couple of weeks back this whole methods, rules, and regulations of Bhakti Lata Bij from the verse Madhya Leela 19, chapter 152. And we are talking about how Srila Prabhupada talks about that this Bhakti Lata means the seed of devotion service, and the methods, rules, and regulations by which one is perfectly trained in devotional service constitute the Bhakti Lata Bij, or the seed of devotional service. And this is received from the spiritual master. These rules and regulations are what, the 64 principles Rupa Goswami Srila Rupa Goswami is giving, and then he's saying the details are given by the spiritual master. So one of the Shiksha Gurus, Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they have given the rules and regulations. And the details of these rules and regulations, that is what our acharyas are doing. Which these rules and this also is connected to Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasado. If we follow those rules in detail, then we please our spiritual master. Therefore, one has to satisfy the spiritual master to get Bhakti Lata Bij. And if one who is faithful gets this, otherwise one, what is that? One who does not, one gets other bijas. However, unless one satisfies the spiritual master, he gets the bija or root cause of karma, jnana, and yoga without the benefit of devotion service. So this is very important to follow our particular spiritual master, rules and regulations, details. Now, the same one, so what are those rules and regulations Srila Prabhupada has given? Now, in his Bhagavatam, he has given many. Like he writes that the expert devotees who can discover novel ways and means to convert the non-devotees in terms of particular time and circumstance. So these are given in his books, and which he has done, like in Bhagavad, he has written here how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was finding, so how boys and girls in our movement, we adopt ways and means which are favorable for this purpose. But then these are the principles of those details also which he is stating in his purports. And in more detail than he has given these instructions of how to, like, it's Sankirtan. He has given the books to do distribution of books, and what kind of standard of deity worship. All these are details he has given in Bhagavatam and in his ISKCON instructions. Now, anyone else, like we have been again and again making this point, anyone else, what is the new instruction they can give to be a guru? Like that question, that answer you are not giving. That answer was what new other than what Srila Prabhupada has already given. And the second is, whom is one pleasing? Is it direct? One should please one's guru, directly written, not through somebody,
Sorry, the first sentence, what did you say? Which answer I'm not giving?
What are the new things that a guru will give in ISKCON other than what Srila Prabhupada through his purports and through his other instructions in ISKCON of preaching and pleasing him, he has already given.
A disciple of Prabhupada should not give anything new.
Okay, one second. So in his ISKCON, where his Bhagavatam purports and Chaitanya Charitamrita purports apply, and then his detailed instructions of management, we went through the name, the management principles, the so many other preaching instructions, Sankirtan deity worship instructions. They are all details are given. Now, if somebody is in ISKCON and a new instruction is being talked about, that one cannot do. That means all are disciples of Srila Prabhupada, no?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So then what can a new guru do there?
He is, as far as I see this letter to Tusta Krishna, it's only to continue to attract, inspire people to come and get in contact with Prabhupada through his Srimad Bhagavatam. Get in contact and please Prabhupada by following the lifestyle actually that Prabhupada is giving, which, as you say correctly, Rupa Goswami is
You are
giving.
interpreting it directly now. Now you start interpreting it directly, saying you make your own disciples.
I
By
don't
following the
interpret. I
principles
don't
I've taught,
interpret.
you make your own disciples, no?
Yes.
You teach them your thing. It says, see,
No. Where do you say he says you teach your own thing? He doesn't say that. He says
here.
your disciples, yes, and you teach them my thing.
Where does it say?
Okay, go back to the letter.
Here, I'm there. Acharya means one who knows the scriptural injunctions and follows them practically in life and teaches them to his disciples. Those instructions which he is following. He teaches what he is following, he's teaching, not
Okay, so what is Tusta Krishna Maharaj following at this point? At least what we know, Prabhupada's instructions, right?
Okay, so disciplic succession, when we need to connect it again to NOD 6th this place, that the principles everyone is same, following from Lord Chaitanya and Rupa Goswami and everything, right? The details are what we are talking about here. How to implement these principles. Are we in agreement with that, at least?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Are we in agreement that in our disciplic succession from Srila Rupa Goswami, 64 principles all acharyas are following anyway? It's only the detailed instructions we are talking about.
What do you mean it's only the detail? No, I don't understand that. I mean, we're trying to follow everything, principles and detail.
For example, a basic principle, see, a purport is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only basic principles, not the details.
Okay.
What are those details?
Everything that Srila Prabhupada is teaching us.
Okay. Now, those details, Srila Prabhupada, that is what makes a guru in our disciplic succession different from another guru. The need of a guru arises when he is giving different detailed instructions. The principles will remain the same, no? Then there is no need of another guru. We can just read Rupa Goswami's Bhagavatam, I mean Nectar of Devotion and everything, and we don't need separate separate books or separate guru, right?
Okay, then you tell me why Prabhupada says to Tushta Krishna, you can accept your own disciples.
So that means he would make his own details. That why from when you read the Bhagavatam and this thing, the only way you can see these instructions is like that. Now, whenever we interpret things, no, Prabhu, we always interpret it according to what we have heard and understood, and which is there in our brain already. That
There's
is,
no interpretation. Just take the letter as it is.
yeah, but as it is, it doesn't say ISKCON or not ISKCON.
Exactly. So then you don't judge you don't make that judgment.
Fine.
So then he will naturally, if Prabhupada sent me this letter, I would stay in ISKCON. Somebody become enthusiastic, okay, I initiated, but my heart and soul is that I'm not qualified to be guru anyway. So I'm just initiating you on behalf of Prabhupada, and you read his books, you follow his instructions. Wake up early. Why should I wake up early? Because Prabhupada said. And if he continues like that, we can see it's a kind of trick in one way, because Prabhupada is not, he knows he's not a qualified guru, but he's allowing him to think he's in some qualified position as Diksha Guru, so he can his ego, whatever. But the real thing is the disciple that thinks his Tushta's disciple is in contact with Prabhupada, serving Prabhupada, pleasing Prabhupada. That's the main thing. You know, Tushta Krishna as a postman in the middle can think what he wants.
All this is not there in the letter, no? All this is you're making up, no? Nothing of this sort is there, that you will please me, your disciples will please me. All
Of
these
course it's there, Prabhuji. What letter
Yes.
you read?
Your disciples, meaning Tushta Krishna's disciples will please me. No, Prabhupada is saying you will
Please,
please me.
please open that letter again.
Where does it say anything about
Okay.
his
I
disciples?
will show you. I will show you. Because this is what I see. This is what I saw when I read it, and I will show you what I saw.
Where does it say?
We don't have the letter in front of us yet.
Oh, sorry. No, where
Right.
is it?
First of all, Prabhupada is stayed in here. So that's what I'm saying. This letter is not just for Tusta Krishna. Every student is expected to become Acharya. Acharya means one who follows the scriptural injunctions, obviously given by Prabhupada because we don't know anything else, and follows them practically in his life and teaches them. What is them? The principles and everything that we have learned from Prabhupada to his disciples, right? So he's teaching his disciples what he learned from Prabhupada, what Prabhupada's teaching them. I have given you sannyasi, blah, 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 culture. I don't want to become recognized with Krishna as a... Okay, become recognized by doing this, you become recognized by Krishna as a most sincere servant. That means you're pleasing Krishna. You can't please Krishna without pleasing Prabhupada, correct?
That's right. I mean, he's saying you will please me. That is not
Yeah,
the
exactly. So Prabhupada is saying that if you do like
disciples,
this,
his
make disciples,
disciples.
preach them the same thing I preach to you, teach them what I have taught you, you make me very pleased. And by making me very pleased, you please Krishna. Simple.
That is no problem. That is not a point. My question to you is, where is he saying that by your disciples, I'll be pleased with your disciples? Because see, Yasya Prasada principle is, I am in a meeting, but soon I will come through.
He's in a meeting, and soon he'll come as soon as.
So where is he saying Yasya Prasadat Bhagavad Prasada, right? So the they have to please Tushta Krishna, right? They're not pleasing, of course, in a disciplined succession, everybody is pleased. That's not the point we are talking about here. Here, the disciples will be pleasing Tushta Krishna directly, not Srila Prabhupada directly.
Why not?
See, like that, even Srila Rupa Goswami is pleased, but we are told,
Yeah.
Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. All these things is directly the Guru, one is surrendering, one is trying to please him. That's the direct interpretation of all of these instructions. It doesn't mean Yasya Prasadat mean, then if one is pleasing everybody, then what's the point? One can try to please anybody in any Guru, anybody, any instruction. What's the point of accepting one Guru? That is all, like, you are trying to interpret all these things. So here it's all about
I
pleasing.
don't understand probably what you just said.
This is all about you take your disciples and your disciples will please you, and that will please me.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, what is a different instruction which Tushta Krishna will do than what Srila Prabhupada has already given through his books and his practical instructions of this whole organized devotee association? In form of
Where are you going with such a question? Because that's not, where is the different instruction? You're saying like Tushta Krishna must come up with a new philosophy, a new instruction.
not philosophy, details. The principles
Yeah.
are the same. In Tushta Krishna will also be
Yeah,
expected.
but why are you going there? Why are you going there? If I tell
of
when
disciplic
when I have devotees here and they come here and I tell them, look, do like this, I want them to do what I tell them to do because this is what I have been told by Prabhupada, do like this. And if they do that, I know, me personally, they're not pleasing me. They're pleasing and serving Prabhupada. And that's where they get their benefit, right? So although I am the front man, let's say do this or do that, clean like this, not like that.
that
Put
is
this
all
like this,
Shiksha
like this.
Gurus, they do that. That's no problem. That is where many Shiksha Gurus are created.
Okay, so you take it,
Guru.
the Shiksha Guru science, and Prabhupada is giving him this Diksha Guru name. But actually, that's
These are
true.
all
He's
your
acting as Shiksha
interpretation.
Guru.
This is all your interpretation you're making from that letter.
Okay, then I don't want to interpret. I want to take Prabhupada's letter as it is.
As it is
There
letter,
it is.
it is talking about you, Tushta Krishna Maharaj, you make your own disciples.
Okay.
They
And
will
by doing that, you please me.
yes.
Okay.
For Tusta Krishna, that is the letter given.
Okay. So that's enough.
What do you mean enough?
We had so many classes, Prabhu, where we said fundamentally the most important factor is pleasing Srila Prabhupada, right? If Prabhupada is pleased, everything is going, right? So if Prabhupada is saying to this devotee,
Not that devotee.
yeah, Prabhupada is saying to this devotee, do like this, do like this, do like that, and you will please me, and Krishna will be pleased by you.
So, but the proper GBC, GBCs of real ISKCON would not take a instruction given or should not have taken this instruction, and that's why they are not real GBC or real ISKCON, because they didn't process instruction given to one devotee with the Siddhanta and the July 9 letter together and understand, no, Srila Prabhupada cannot want this. First of all, we can't, none of us are creating these details. Prabhupada books are already creating these details. He's already, Bhagavatam is present everywhere, everyone is hearing from him. Plus, all these details are practical, the Sevaya instructions he is given. Automatically is Guru. There is no point of having another Guru in ISKCON. And if you, Tushtak, want to, we encourage you, Prabhupada has given you instruction for whatever reason he told you, go ahead and do that outside where you can make your own, you can read, you can even use Srila Prabhupada books, no problem. Srila Prabhupada authorized books to be sent to Siddha Swarup. And from that I understood that he was saying, okay, so Bhagavata Vidhi will continue there, but he is giving them different instructions. So some way he is allowing that kind of disciplic succession to go on, in that manner, and let it go on. But ISKCON, with the real ISKCON, it will not happen without Srila Prabhupada books, Bhagavatam, and his instructions. Why don't we hear from others? Let's see what anybody has stayed with us through this time or not. Rasa Bihari Prabhu.
Christopher Prabhu has got nice things to say, I think.
Yeah. Krishna Prabhu, Rasa Bihari, Leo Prabhu, everyone is there.
We didn't hear the rest of what they were saying, and we kind of, in the video,
I know.
we got stuck in that one point and never went back to whatever else they were
I
saying.
think that's will be their main thing is.
Now comes the point that whether July 9th, 1977, that instruction supersedes the instruction given on December 2nd, 1975. My answer, I would leave that talk, that particular, and I'm willing to hear from others. But I would say this kind of discussion, this kind of argument that 1977 is later than 1975. So whatever Prabhupada told in 1977 should be the be all end all, and we should discard whatever was before, is like saying, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Iti te jnanam akyatam. This is 1863. Guhyataram maya. Vimshrityaitar asheshnena yate ichchasi tata kuru. So basically, yate ichchasi tata kuru. Arjuna, I told you so many things. You do whatever you want to do. So we can take this instruction, and should we just start acting on our own whims? Arjuna, did he do that? So, because that was the final instruction of after saying 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Okay, let's go to another verse. He says, Krishna says, Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. So should we take this as the final instruction? Dharma should be given up. That means this Varnashrama Dharma shloka that Krishna says, Chaturvarnam maya shishtam guna karma vivagasaka tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. No need for following Varnashrama Dharma. We don't need to, all grihasthas, you're all free to roam anywhere you want to do, as long as you surrender to Krishna. That should not be the understanding. I'm just trying to say that the final instruction, if you go by this chronology of years or chronology of shloka, would be a miserable failure. I think Rama Prameya Prabhu can also elucidate some of these things.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. There is a famous Islamic preacher by name Zakir Naik. And when he preaches, he claims that because Islam has come at the end and Quran is the last book in the sequence of all the religious books, revealed scripture. So that is the final order of God. And whatever the Quran says is because it is mentioned in chronologically, it's mentioned at the end. So that's to be the final thing. So somewhere this thought process is like this, that the thing that is mentioned by Prabhupada at the end supersedes the other. But Vedic instructions are not like that. Each of the Vedic instructions are aportia, they are eternal. The words of the Vedas are eternal, they are always living through the sound vibrations. And when the Acharya repeats the words of the Vedas, it's not that the subsequent word negates the previous one. Yes. So definitely Prabhupada would not have made a statement, a final order which supersedes or which cancels all the previous orders. So the only understanding that we can derive out of this is this order is also true, previous order is also true, the order previous to that is also true. And the first order that Prabhupada gave would also be true.
Yeah, I agree. There is no disagreement in that. But their interpretation is and anyway, let's carry on.
So question is how are we going to harmonize all these things? So that harmonization, it's called Mimamsa, and that Mimamsa can be easily done with the understanding that circumstantially Prabhupada wanted a situation where the initiation should continue. And once Prabhupada
This is his interpretation.
not able to physically do it because he is not here, then the law of disciplic succession that he has instructed about since and which is being followed since thousands of years, that seems to be more logical.
Again, wrong interpretation, because this thinking that disciplic succession means people are required, physical people are required, that is not the law of disciplic succession as given in Evam Parampara Praptam Imam Rajeshwar. It's a twisted philosophy of putting cart before the horse. The knowledge, the path of the knowledge is the most important. The knowledge is intact, the disciplic succession is intact. That could be people, yes, but that could be books also of Srila Prabhupada and his instruction and his ISKCON together.
Nimai Prabhu, can I just ask you, because obviously you're from Indian background, we often hear this as Western people, because we don't know much about Vedic culture in India, let's say, is that all people, especially village people, they all had their physical village guru, right? Is that something like that true?
Yeah, that's there in the Bhagavatam also, no? That and
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada told many times that each Brahmana becomes a guru for the family, and even and then sannyasi is the guru of all the classes, and so these are all Vedic gurus, which are for, let's say, for instructing, do this better, do that better, this like that, but not in terms of Bhagavata Vidhi is a completely different level of instruction altogether.
So that culture and those people, would they have a village guru and a family guru as well as another guru?
Sorry, could you say that again, Prabhu, please?
Yeah, I said that what you just told us about how people live in India with that village guru, family guru, would they have that guru plus another guru later on?
Yeah,
They would have two gurus?
Yeah, that's what Srila Prabhupada himself did also, and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and same thing. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, same in his the example they've shown.
Which is what example, please, Prabhu? I didn't understand.
1 second, Prabhu.
So that they had a family guru and later on a spiritual guru, so to say.
Right. So then what did the family guru teach if it wasn't spiritual?
Yeah, daily life. And, of course, you have to be fortunate enough to come in contact with a bona fide representative of Krishna. So not everyone is that lucky, right? So most of the people don't have this good fortune.
John Prabhu, it's in your control. You're muted. We can't hear you. If
Nima
just-
had to step away for a minute, and he'll be right back.
Okay, maybe you can continue playing that video.
Well, I just wait till he comes back, I imagine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Christopher, I think you could share with us some nice information that you found about the
Going
time
back to the
situation of Tusta Krishna.
right, going back to this letter again now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea after all this lengthy discussion, but yeah, I mean, I just checked the other side, so to say, what is the understanding of Tusta Krishna himself? I mean, he passed away already, so since a long time actually. And that's what I posted here in the chat. So to just see the other side of the story, to get some more context. But yeah, in general, I also knew little about it, other than that there was a split, and of course, this is a group where also the now very powerful Vaishnavi, who is serving in the current US government, comes from.
Tulsi
So
Gabbard.
exactly, and so yeah, I mean, definitely had a good impact, you could say, on the world. This instruction or this
Yeah,
letter.
so I'll just share it with others what you wrote them briefly. Is that Tushta Krishna was actually, let's say, a disciple of Siddha Sarup. Siddha Sarup, who was based in Hawaii, had his own group that were his disciples, and he was their guru. And when he met Prabhupada, he surrendered himself and also all his disciples to Prabhupada. Later on, he wasn't so happy or blah blah and kind of took them back. And during that time when he was with Prabhupada, he sent Tushta Krishna to Prabhupada in India to associate with him. And Tushta Krishna was initiated by Prabhupada. So then, in 73, I think Christopher Prabhu shared with us, in 1973, Tushta Krishna left ISKCON to continue his own, I think. And so this 1975 letter comes on that history, that Prabhupada is speaking to Tushta Krishna as somebody who's like his disciple, but outside.
Yeah, that makes a real big difference, is putting it
Exactly.
and having the letter that was, if you had the letter that was written to Prabhupada that he was answering, would also help to give context. So
Exactly.
these things are hugely important. And I think it points to what Nimai was saying, that you have to understand what was happening. It's a private letter. It wasn't something put out as a resolution. It was something put out to him for whatever was happening between them. It's not a resolution. It's, in that regard, you cannot compare the two letters. One is written, one is written as a resolution to be put out to the entire movement. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Maybe we could repeat that again for Nimai's sake, and that does make all the difference in the world.
Nimai Prabhu, I think you're maybe already aware of this, but Christopher Prabhu just shared with us some information about Tushta Krishna's history. Do you know his history?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, he was actually under Siddha Sarup. He was a follower of Siddha Sarup. And Siddha Sarup surrendered himself and his whole group to Prabhupada. And he sent Tushta Krishna to associate with Prabhupada, and he took initiation from Prabhupada, Tushta Krishna. And then by 1973, Tushta Krishna had left ISKCON and had his own following, it looks like. And this 75 letter is coming on that context. So he was outside of ISKCON.
If you want to go outside the letter, then of course, as you know, you look at the historical fact, and then you also open yourself to this thing that then you have to look at all other scriptures and everywhere. No? Let's carry on.
Can I say something here?
Oh, I said, who is saying it?
Yeah.
In his purport to Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapter 20, text number 352, Prabhupada wrote that Shastra is the center for all. And a guru is not a guru if he doesn't follow the Shastras. It's written there very clearly. So, you know, he always taught books are the basis, and Vedic literature is the basis of our ideology. And to say that one letter from July 9th changes our ideology is just a type of fanaticism.
I agree. Cannot change. So one has to see when we go to the scriptures, it should match. Everything should be very clear. And that's how we see that 135 is talking about Bhagavata Vidhi initiations, and then the Bhaktivedanta, Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati and Srila Prabhupada added some portions of Panchratrika Vidhi, and that's how they are performing. So July 9th letter is only on that basis it is talking about, but it's not changing the real initiation, which is Bhagavata Vidhi, which one is getting from Bhagavatam and ISKCON.
Just a type of fanaticism. There's a lot of, criticism that our gurus so many ISKCON gurus have fallen down. So the system of gurus that is followed in ISKCON is flawed. And because we aren't following this July 9 final order, we have a flawed system. But in way back in just after Prabhupada, a couple years after he started ISKCON in 1966, he wrote a letter to a disciple named Janardhan Das, who I don't know, I never met, I've just seen the name. But it's written in that letter that a devotee who is not on the highest platform, who's not a liberated soul, can act as a guru if he strictly follows the disciplic succession. Then, they say Prabhupada initiated so many people after he passed away. Then why did Prabhupada use the terms disciplic succession? Succession means somebody succeeds someone else. So a lot of illogic is being spread by the proponents of this so-called Ritvik system of initiation. Back in January 1999, we had a conference on Vaishnav Diksha in Bangalore at the Purna Pragya Vidyapith, which I organized with the blessings of and the cooperation of the late Vishwesha Tirtha Swamiji, Pejawar Mutt from South Karnataka. It used to be called South Canara, now it's Udupi district. And he and his Shiksha Guru, who was Palimar Swamiji, Vidyamanya Tirtha, they attended this Goshti, Vidvat Goshti. And one after the other scholars said, the Guru does not give initiation after he disappears. And Madhu Pandit's brother-in-law came there, Chanchalapati Das. Pejawar Swami apologized.
This is not good. They're sliding it in that as if Chanchalapati Prabhu, because he is brother-in-law of Madhu Pandit Prabhu, somehow that lords him and somehow he's like a lackey of Madhu Pandit Prabhu. No, he's standing on his own 2 feet. No, that's not nice.
Said, I apologize. He asked me if I could come, and Pejawar Swami was highly respected by everybody. So if he said he could come, who's going to oppose? And we didn't oppose, but we didn't invite. But anyway, he brought a great scholar who is no longer there, K.T. Pandurangi, who was head of Sanskrit department at Bangalore University. And they brought the July 9th letter. Pejawai Swami took the letter in his hand, looked at it and said, no. No. So these people are not, the people who are propagating this have become fanatics. They don't listen to logic and reason. And
so, see, this, our Madhva Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya, at least these two, they are very focused on Pancharatrika Vidhi. And when they are talking about uh, it is no and all these things, the Guru, all this is on the Pancharatrika Vidhi, which is focusing on mantra with the deity worship with a lot of, I won't call it, they are spiritual rituals, Kriya Mudras, Kriyas, different activities to please the Lord. And but when one is talking of Bhagavata Vidhi, it is on Shravanam and Kirtanam. And main thing is with association of a Bhagavata. One is associating, hearing from him, serving him. The Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So that they are not under, so we are on parallel paths we're talking about. All this discussion is happening on this platform, on Panchatrika platform. But Srila Prabhupada is continuing on from our acharyas that this is the principle of the Guru. Disciplic succession is the Bhagavata Vidhi, where the Bhagavat, Mahabhagavat is teaching, and not just teaching philosophy, but giving his association, personal association, which they don't understand Bhagavata, that it is physically has to be there and all these things. But his personal association through his books, his Vani, and through his deity form, through his dream, and through his ISKCON, is that instruction is coming. That is the Bhagavata Vidhi.
propagating, I mean, there are many institutions in India and abroad. I can give one example, since you talked about the Islamic preacher Zakir Naik. Everybody knows, it's public knowledge, that there's a sect of Muslims in Pakistan called Ahmadiyyas. And one fellow named Ahmed, I don't know the whole history, but it's 100, 125, 150 years ago, proclaimed himself the prophet, the next prophet. Well, most Muslims, can take that as a great insult to the, prophet of Islam. And they regularly send these followers of Ahmed to Yamalokam.
Wow.
Through this means and that means.
I didn't know that.
So that's also fanaticism. So fanaticism can be anywhere. It can be in any sect, any institution. And what does fanaticism mean? It means that you go beyond logic and reason and proper etiquette.
Well, that's good. That's a good point what Prabhu is making.
Achar.
But also it means not taking Srila Prabhupada instructions like a concept in a wholesome, all the places, everywhere, and looking at the Siddhanta, and then understanding the principle like that, and then seeing the time, place, and circumstance. That is not fanaticism.
So I'll end my remarks here because I think Sridhar Srinivas Prabhu would like to say something.
Yeah,
Before you say something, I want to raise an important doubt, or actually a rebuttal to this law of disciplic succession. And this is also from the final order, which is it's this. So Krishnakant Desai has said, it's apparent that in writing to these devotees, telling them they could take disciples if they just held on a little longer, Srila Prabhupada was simply trying to keep them in devotional service. In so doing, there was at least a possibility that in time their ambitious mentalities might become purified. And then he further goes on, eagerness to accept worship and followers is actually a disqualification for a spiritual master. We can only marvel at the power of the false ego that even in the presence of the most powerful acharya the planet had ever seen, some personalities still felt amply qualified to initiate their own disciples right under Srila Prabhupada's nose. And then he goes, this is also, he keeps going on. Humble devotees who diligently perform their service and selfless sacrifice to their spiritual master would never have received a letter describing their glowing future as Diksha Gurus. Why would Srila Prabhupada only seriously promise Diksha Guruship to those who are most ambitious and hence least qualified? So here he's trying to say that Prabhupada, that this letter that they got, it was actually misleading them. You can't, that what Prabhupada was saying was not actually, it was not actually true. You know, he's saying that, you know, Prabhupada says law of disciplic succession, so that's not true. But important point is that that the smritis, that the category, it's by far the largest category of literature in Vedic literature. Smriti means that which is remembered by those who know the Vedas. So if a guru, if you're comfortable saying that your guru misleads people and lies, then how could
It's not like so Guru does test disciples. At 434 in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is saying that this Guru, you know, if the disciple, if he passes the test of the spiritual master. So testing is always done. And I mean, many instructions we would be able to find where Guru is saying do that, and then disciple sees, well, actually, just like Srila Prabhupada gave the example of Sanatan Goswami, one Brahmana came to him and said, give me the best, give me the benediction of whatever, you know, I forget the context, but he came and so Sanatan Goswami said, oh, you can find the wish, what is that, Chintamani stone here. So then he went very happy, and then he realized, oh, if this was the best thing, why was it lying in the garbage? So then he came back and said, you cheated me. You are not giving me the most important thing. And so he says, okay, if you really want that, then throw this away and then come. And then he initiated him with chanting Hare Krishna mantra. So that is all there. So that's why if Prabhu, you were asking me if you received a letter, what you do, I would think, why is Srila Prabhupada telling me to become Guru? Maybe is he thinking that I have these desires, so I am going to start looking in my heart more carefully.
You know, how can you even trust anything he writes? So therefore the Bhagavatam says, Ishvaranam vachah satyam tataiva charitam vachit desham yat sva vacho yuktam buddhimam tat samacharet. The statements of the Lord's empowered servants are always true, and the acts they perform are exemplary when consistent with those statements. Therefore, one who is intelligent should carry out their instructions. So the words, the statements of the Lord's empowered servants are always true. This is the standard. So to suggest that Srila
always true, but also time, place, and circumstances also is true.
Prabhupada was misleading his students, that he was, you know, that he may have lied or told a benevolent lie or something like that. This is totally against the Vedic tradition. It's against the Shastras, and there's just can you imagine this? You're going to my spiritual master, he misleads people. How is that glorification of Prabhupada? That's foolish. That is so it's just awful.
I think what you're pointing out is that in the letter of 1975, where Prabhupada talked about the law of disciplic succession, that was somehow reversed by this July 9th letter.
That's
But
correct.
How could it be? How is it possible?
And
Why
so
would Prabhupada write one thing and contradict himself?
well, that's the first thing. But you know, this evidence is just so potent that they had.
So this is why, no. So what I'm understanding, to understand Srila Prabhupada, he gives this principle Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru. One, without one having complete faith in the spiritual master, all these things can't be, one starts to, one won't be revealed. One start, like, that's how the priorities are different. Priorities become the external way of performing initiation. I am guru, disciple. All this whole thing is uh, is not what 135 Adi Leela is talking about. And Bhagavata, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, and how Narad Muni was initiated, how our disciplic succession has been talking about initiation, Tadvidi Pranipatena, nectar of devotion. The whole thing is not this initiation which one is talking about. And by making all this becoming the more important aspect, or that shows Yasya Deve Parabhaktir is not acting. The whole Krishna is not revealing the truth. Srila Prabhupada is not pleased enough that Krishna has not revealed the truth.
Somehow or other discredit it. Because, in the July 9th letter, not the July 9th letter, but in this letter to Tusta Krishna, both things are there. We bring spiritual master during the life, we bring disciples to the spiritual master during his lifetime, and then in his absence, you may accept disciples. Both things are there. And what that does is that naturally limits the July 9th letter to the lifetime of Prabhupada.
Yeah. Saying that, Prabhu, Krishna Kirti Prabhu, Basugosh Prabhu, what you are saying, identifying a big fault in K.K. Desai. What he is saying is Prabhupada made up on his own. But Parama Samhita 8.61 clearly says, Shishyastvam upasarpantu. At the time of initiation, may disciples come to you. So this is Shruti Shastra Nindanam. By saying that Prabhupada is speaking something just for the time being is an insult to this Pancharatrika Vidhi. What Prabhupada said is,
this is all talking about Pancharatrika system. And from that aspect, they're all in that mode, in that platform, and all talking. When Srila Prabhupada is not talking on that platform. He is, but very minimally. He is talking of Tadvidi Pranipadana. Everything is talking about the Bhagavata Vidhi.
Shastra. He is not speaking something to make up. You see what there is a default power of attorney given that may disciples come to you. And Prabhupada is saying the other etiquette, that while your guru is there, you bring them to the guru. So just wanted to add that point. And I have two more points, but if somebody else has something more to say on this.
I do.
Yes.
There's the purport in Srimad Bhagavatam 4:28-31.
4:28.
Where Prabhupada clearly writes in the purport that my God brothers and I, we may not be working conjointly, but we're producing many disciples.
That's a good
and spreading this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. So here, his God brothers can make disciples according to what he wrote in the purport, and he was making disciples. But according to this Ritvik system of initiation, only Prabhupada can give initiation. So that means his God brothers couldn't. So that contradicts what Prabhupada wrote in the purport. So now what should we accept? What Prabhupada wrote in the purport, or this ideological concoction that cancels it all out, and you declare that, well, Madhu Pandit was actually initiated by Prabhupada. Well, then everyone was in the whole world, that's Christianity. Damini, 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 you're all Christians now. You throw water.
So this is a good argument that Basugosh Prabhu is raising about the 428, where Srila Prabhupada is saying my spiritual master also is his disciples, his god brothers are also making disciples. But one can see that. Let us look at it. The Leela 1. The Leela 7, chapter 171. No, last verse says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to preach a Sankirtan movement of love of Krishna throughout the entire world, and therefore during his presence he inspired the Sankirtan movement. Specifically, he sent Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami to Vrindavan and Nityananda to Bengal, and personally went to South India. In this way, he kindly left the task of preaching his cult in the rest of the world to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So we can see, let people are preaching in India, let them do. But for him, he has been given the task of preaching in the rest of the world. Now, if they are able to make disciples or not, how many, whether they what quality, he's not going in that direction. What he is saying is that for me, based on this, for his instruction is for the rest of the world through him leading ISKCON together. I think we'll finish here. We're coming to the end of. Rasa Bihari Prabhu, you want to say something to finish off?
This was a lot for me. I'm back in America now.
Oh, you are? Where
Yeah,
are you?
yeah. My grandmother got diagnosed with breast cancer, and they asked me to fly back home, and so I did. But luckily, she's not even stage 1; it's stage 0, and she just needs one operation to get the cells removed that could be potentially cancerous, and she'll be fine. So
Back in California?
yeah. Yeah. So I'm trying to find some good association here. If anybody, has friends in Southern California where I live. But to go back to the topic, it's it's hard to say like a final point or a final understanding of it all, because the letters, I don't know if Prabhupada ever said a pure devotee, pure devotee or pure disciple knows the future, because then we could use these letters and say that Prabhupada knew everybody would read them. But if we're going off of what our knowledge is that these letters were meant for specific people and to be a conversation between Prabhupada and this person, then to use the letters to say that this is what Prabhupada wanted for everybody is kind of a stretch, in my opinion. And that's why I always, through this conversation, I agreed with you when you kept going back to texts that were meant for everyone. So in the last, I kind of got distracted with my family, so I'm trying to catch up with the understanding of what has been discussed, but just generally understanding, or my final point that I want to say is that let 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 people who want to be gurus be gurus, because people who want to follow them.
I really cannot, I mean, the whole consciousness, no? So,
Because it was just like I was saying last time, but you didn't really agree with my point. You were saying, we have to help those who are being misled by false gurus. But, you know, deep down, everybody has a desire for a certain type of guru. If they want a false guru, let them have a false guru. And for those who want to be strictly following Prabhupada's initial orders that come, from the disciplic succession, then, let people follow properly. But I'm not one to try to control others, or I'm not saying that you or anyone here is trying to control others, but there was this thing that Raghu Pandit Prabhuji told me when speaking about the disappearance of Prabhupada. He was saying after the disappearance of Prabhupada, we are now in critical mass. And he was saying critical mass is a stage in scientific experiment when you have no control. And people are, the reactions that follow this critical mass can't really be predicted, and they can't be aligned to go a certain direction. Like the scientists can no longer dictate the reactions. And so this is the state that we're in Krishna consciousness, that, many people are going to find their way to manipulate people. There's going to be many people who are going to be able to help a lot of people. So, I mean, you got to know which side you're on, and then just pour your whole heart into into praying to God that you have the perfect instruction. Beyond this, I don't have much else to say.
135, the first line, basically the second line is talking about, the first line later on is talking about what the objective of the pure Vaishnavas
Mm-hmm.
is pure devotional service. It all depends on our desire. Then we are certain Krishna will guide me if we are desiring like that.
Yes.
Want you, then he will guide us to him. Like really deeply inside our heart. If we really want to be servant, that is I mean, really
Yeah.
servant of all entities actually. And that's when we know for sure Krishna is going to guide. Why will he misguide me then?
Yeah.
Out that. Uh, and I mean, that's where morning, afternoon, evening, Trisandhya, no, when we are supposed to think of Guru, that's what we should think again, like, Tadvidi Pranipatena, like, where am I with the Guru? He wants me to be. The most important thing Srila Prabhupada says a Guru can give is pure devotional service. Pure devotional service, not
Yes.
just engaging, chanting, this, that, pure, completely pure devotional service. So that, am I really wanting that? That's the primary thing. Everything else is after that. Very
Yes.
well said, Prabhu. Very well said. Thank you very much. And
Thank you,
one
Prabhu.
day you'll be able to come to the East Coast.
Yes, I actually do plan to before I leave the continent. Because once my grandma has her surgery, and she's already telling me to get out of here and get back on my journey. So, so I definitely want to come visit you in New York. And this is where you are, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'd love to.
Okay. Leo Prabhu, you have anything to finish?
How can I, Hare Krishna, Dandavas pronounce everyone. I don't know. Yeah, that's a lot of pressure how to finish this. So yeah, like Prabhu was just saying, it's a lot to digest. My whole thing is just it's good to have this dialogue, this type of conversations, as well as from their end with Bashu Ghosh Prabhu and the other devotees. So this is the time and place for now to have these discussions that weren't as widely conversed. And right now it seems to be a hot topic. So it's bringing a lot of attention. It's filtering a lot of stuff that's going on, a lot of nonsense that's going on, a lot of noise. So it's good time to get the truth out. And it's good right now to base it on philosophy of a Shastra. I'm learning a lot, and I'm very sympathetic for both sides. It's just now my own improvement spiritually. So I appreciate this and I'm sure Prabhupada definitely appreciates this dialogue. Now, just in regards to stuff that's not according to Shastra. There's a lot of stuff that's not according to Shastra with the current ISKCON. So, and there's a lot of stuff that wasn't instructed by Prabhupada directly. That's practice. So it's to have these arguments is really, it's kind of like cherry picking in a sense. But the best thing is to do is to have Prabhupada's blessing. And so far, from what I heard in different type of opinion, was the biggest thing about the court ruling with ISKCON Bangalore was just how Paramatma is like very is is how much influence it's taking place there through Prabhupada's mercy. So yeah, that's the best thing I could say right now. And I wish I could say more, but it was a lot of back and forth. So I don't want to choose any sides right now. I know Balaram Prabhu is definitely made valid points. You made valid points, but yeah, I'll just leave it at that, Prabhu.
Okay. Would you like to send this to Basu Ghosh Prabhu and in the Shastric Council? I don't know how to contact. Oh, they have a website.
This, I don't think so.
No.
I'll tell you what.
Okay.
After.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, bro. I'll definitely. My insignificant self. I don't know if he'll respond back to me. He has responded on a couple of occasions, but let's see. I could definitely find a way.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for bringing this to my attention. But thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Sarita Mataji.